Okay. I've got my summaries here, courtesy of Mel.
Hope they're
Thank
good.
you.
It's my first time.
That is, I'm just gonna read them blind, so that'll be fun. I haven't practiced read them through.
Probably better than the wiki one, though.
Well, yes.
It's not hard.
Not that there was one for episode 50 or 51, but you know.
They're really not thorough about this.
No.
I should send them. But the thing is, the summaries I write aren't fit to be sent to be put on the wiki.
Yeah. The wiki wouldn't say the real actual panda who's a guy in a suit and not a real panda.
Yes. Over and over again.
Over and over again.
Have y'all listened to the Shells by Genre episode on Conan the Barbarian?
No, I need to. I think I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna maybe subscribe to their Patreon, just get those those bonus episodes.
They're very good, but they start that one off by Austin being like, I think I found the first good fan wiki, and then he reads this passage, which is incredible.
In the beginning, we see Conan's father explain this Cimmerian lore concerning the ancient giant kings of Earth, blah blah blah. He must learn, giving him a hint. He tells him that he cannot trust anything in this world except for one thing, and showing him the sword of steel he just forged, he says, "This you can trust." What he does exactly mean by this is not clear. That sword, all swords, all weapons, only weapons of steel, only things he made himself.
It's the next part that kills me.
Conan's task is very complex. First, he must find a riddle, that is, a question, and then he must find the answer to that question. In many ways. This resembles shut the fuck up. The Buddhist test of a coin.
Oh my god.
That kept getting better, man. That was wild.
And Austin's like, this is the only good person who's ever written for a wiki.
I need the Ultraman wiki page that has this in it.
Yeah.
That sword, all swords, all weapons, only weapons of steel, only things he made himself.
This guy went off on one.
I want this guy's opinion on the question, Conan, what is best in life?
I think Conan would tell you that there's only one truth.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're correct. Shut the fuck up.
So after I recorded my spiel about that on the podcast, I learned that was the same dude who did the Dirty Harry movies. I'm like, that makes so much fucking sense.
Oh yeah.
I think this should stay in.
I'll see if I can find a space for it.
Like Professor Layton.
Like Professor Layton, yeah. Okay. I am gonna go in. Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 73. My name is Red. I am joined by Mel.
It's so over, which means we're so back.
Yeah. Also joined by Brad.
I'm just gonna shoot this podcast in front of not this podcast, the show in front of the children.
Yes. Kill it. Yeah, coming up today, we have, the most bizarre moral in like an episode of Ultraman so far.
Summarily executes someone. Don't lose your kindness, by the way.
Don't lose your kindness.
Don't lose your kindness. Don't lose it.
Hey, I think you dropped this. It's your kindness. I made you look.
We also have traffic light monsters, and horror stories from my youth. Because fact. For people who maybe follow the podcast, my parents tried to get me to learn the violin and succeeded for way too long.
I had this with tennis and to a lesser extent piano.
Yeah. Back when my family had money.
My family, I was into tennis and I liked it until the incident with the capital I happened. But
right.
My other thing was
I don't know this one, so you can tell me later.
The fact I couldn't really run anymore for a while there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But
if only you knew Ultraman.
It's so true. God, he would have fixed me up proper quick.
Yeah, you just overcame your trauma, and then you would have been healthy, because that's how it works, right?
Yeah, he would have fought the gun monster, and I would have been fine. But
okay, Chainsaw Man.
God damn it. No, but my version of this was I was stuck in a shitty Taekwondo contract that was supposed to keep me at that school for years, and I was a black belt already, and then I got to the point of my teenage years where I'm like, I would rather just be biking around town with my friends doing stupid shit. And they were really anal about not letting us out of that contract, and then like we got into a huge fight with them, and then they let us out. But my mom was like, "I just think it would do so much good for you," and I was like, I'm kind of over mall karate at the age of 14.
So much, how much more good for you getting higher than black belt get? Like, I know there's like grades, but like,
I think she wanted me to be in like an after school community thing that was like semi physically active, and I was like, I'm good.
you could have entered the King of Fighters if you got good enough.
No, I don't want to talk to those people.
Oh, you think they're cheating with their fireballs?
Yeah,
Don't like those Orochi guys?
no.
Okay, so we're gonna keep this first section brief. So before we get into any of that usual stuff, gonna try to speed through this a little bit. What people been up to?
I'll just go first.
Yeah, go for it.
Not up to much this week. It was busy, but also I was like, well, finale today, so I didn't want to get up too much anyway. I did dust off another thing from the past that I finished off. This was another Magical Girl show. The 2002 series Tokyo Mew Mew.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when that was on TV.
Yeah. I feel like I don't have a lot to say about it. I mostly just think it's like, I liked it. It's a good, competent one of these. I feel like it's... Well, for those who don't know, it's like, it's got an environmental theme. The girls are, like, themed after endangered animals. And, like, there's, like, an environmental message of, like, oh, the villains are trying to, like, pollute the earth. And then you find out later, villains have a connection to the earth and they hate humans for what they've done to the earth kind of thing. And, I feel like it's a good one of these. It's like a good solid 8 out of 10. I feel like I don't care as much for all the girls. I think they need to give some of them more stuff. I do think it's funny that all the girls are named after, like, it's not all fruits, but all sort of like fruits and vegetables.
Dragon Ball Z.
But also those characters just have the same ones as their names. So like, Mew Strawberry is named Ichigo, and like Mew Zakuro is named Zakuro. And it's like, okay, that's fine. And then there's one girl who is like Mew Lettuce, and her name is Retesu, and I'm like, okay, come on. come on. You also have like the rich girl Minto.
Compulsory.
Who's Mint?
That's a good name for a rich girl.
She's like got a thing for Zakuro because Zakuro's a cool model and like the coolest character in the show. I'll find a picture of that. And then the last girl is named Purin, who is the designated gremlin / Chinese girl. So I know.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I feel like, I mostly just like Zakuro because she's cool. And then Ichigo is the protagonist who gets the most stuff, and that's why she's also the one I like a lot. But yeah, besides that, I think like, the other girls are fine. I just wish they got a bit more stuff to make them like stand out a bit more. But I don't dislike them. Gonna just take this screenshot of Zakuro's debut just so you get the kind of vibes off her.
Okay. I see.
Yeah.
This is a very goofy look.
Yeah. She only does this like once.
Remember this show looking a lot more 2000s than this, actually.
This
is like late 90s vibes.
Yeah, it's definitely like in the Digipaint era, and I feel like it comes across more in like some parts than others. But yeah, it's definitely like of the era. Like the villains are kind of cool. Like there's the main guy who's like Quiche, who gets interesting stuff later on, and the other villains eventually grow on me. I think the main thing is that there's like stuff in here like Ichigo's parents show up every once in a while, and I like clap when I see them because they're good. The main emotional core of the show is that Ichigo has like a crush on this guy named Aoyama at school, and the main emotional core of the show is about her like romance with this guy and like how that relates to their relationship and how that relates to her like her magic girl stuff. I think that stuff's well done, and it actually culminates in sort of like tying into the final climax of the show. And like, I think the last stretch of the show is like really good. I think there's a degree to which, like, you know, it being for kids does mean when it tries to like throw some twists. They're like, oh, this is fun, but also it's like, well, I know this is like a fake out. Like when the show tries to like suggest potential alternate romantic interest, I'm like, oh, this is fun for like, ooh, what a development, but I know like it's not gonna lead to anything. Or, you know, when the show's equivalent Tuxedo Mask shows up, I'm like, well, it has the same voice actor as one other character, so this can't be anyone else. However, I admire your attempts to try and like throw me off, you know. But then, like, you know, the Tuxedo Mask stuff also ties into the final battle, which I think is cool. Yeah, I think it's like, it's not a groundbreaking series. I think it's just like, you know, a good one of these. And, you know, I think it like stands out just being like one of the big ones of the early aughts, and like one of the ones that came over. So I think it's, you know, it's worth checking out if you like the genre, if you like Magic Girls. I think there's like stuff in there that like, oh, this would be neat to see some of this in a Precure show. I think like I still prefer most Precure shows to this one, but there's also like definitely like more mid Precure seasons that I think are like weaker than this one. I think this one's like in the, like, you know, if this was a Precure season, I'd consider it pretty good one. I think. Though I still think if I'm comparing this to like Sailor Moon, I prefer Sailor Moon R last week.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, I also prefer most Precure seasons to Sailor Moon. So, you know, but, you know, it's like good to watch different things in the genre. And I'm glad to light this one off because, one, I started in like 3 years ago. Two, it's like, you know, I guess you could call it a classic. It's like 20 years old at this point. And then like 3, like part of the reason I started it was they were like, oh, hey, we could start the reboot / remake, which may be a Final Fantasy VII remake situation. I don't know. That aired a few years ago. So I'm like, well, I can go watch that now. Because I watched like the first episode of that one. I'm like, you know what? I think based on what's happening this one, I should just go finish the original first.
I see.
That first episode. Because like there's something going on here. This one girl knows too much for what the situation is.
I think, right, here's my thing. I think this is always a stupid idea. Because it's always just like you're just giving people homework for your show.
Yeah.
See, in a roundabout way, I feel like I like it because it forces them to contend with the original and not act like the remake is a replacement.
I mean, yeah, don't remake things.
I think there's a pro and con approach. I also think like most of the time you don't need to remake things, but like there are times where I think something deserves like a second chance. But I think in those cases, those are ones where it's like the original was deeply flawed, and like a second chance would be like a chance to do it under better conditions to elevate it, or like do what was originally planned, rather than like, oh, we're going to remake the thing people already like that was like a classic. Because, you know, it's not going to replace the classic, you know. Except for maybe Zero Mission.
But, you know, Mel, there's nothing that says a fake can't compete with the real thing.
Oh my god.
So the Fate Stay Night remaster came out on Steam.
Thank you for the dismissal.
I saw an opportunity and I took it. Did you have anything to say before I segued?
No, it was good. I will also say I did buy that, but I haven't played it yet. So I still want to finish my Tsukihime playthrough that it also stalled.
Okay. I just have to say this out loud. As of like August 2022, I am in the end game of UBW in like the old translation, and I'm just like, well, I might as well just finish the thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a worse translation, but like, I will finish the thing that everyone has had up until this point, and you know, obviously I'll just see it like as original, right? Like as in originally created, and then if I want to reread Fate in a couple of years, I'll play the version that's on Steam. Fate Stay Night is on Steam. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it's honestly kind of ridiculous. It took till 2024 for this to come out officially in English. But I'm excited because I read through all of Rin's prologue basically in one sitting. And I was like, wow, this is much better than I remember from the old Mirror Moon translation. Mm-hmm. And that has me excited because historically, I don't really care about the Fate route, if I'm being honest. I
don't think this is a spicy take.
Well, it's like not, but also part of my reason is that Fate Stay Night is a lot of day-to-day character stuff that formerly I don't feel like I cared about because I'm like, okay, this is a lot of scenes of people cooking and eating, but like all of the characters involved are saying the most like kind of generic anime stereotype like characterization stuff, and it was very hard for me to get invested, and I almost genuinely was like, I kind of appreciate the adaptations for giving you the bare minimum of this to have enough of an understanding of who these people are, and then just like getting to more of the like action-y set-piece stuff that most people are probably there for. But this dialogue is much better than I remember it being with the fan translation, and I'm like, oh, I might actually be in, like, more interested in seeing this writer and their take on the translation delivering this story than I was with the fans trying to scramble together meaning out of Nasu's very quirky writing style. So I'm excited. I think Unlimited Blade Work's probably going to remain my favorite part of that story, but I'm curious on the other side of this translation how I feel about the Fate route versus Heaven's Feel route, both of which I'd say I have, like, problems with both for very different reasons. But my other part of this is I'm like, oh, I should go back and actually just finish that old fan translation of Tsukihime that I like almost completed, because I can tell if I get way too used to. Right.
How far into Tsukihime are you?
I like almost wrapped up the sisters route, which I feel is like too deep to just not.
Which
you mean like when you were 2 hours from the end of Xenogears?
Oh, yeah, that's which one is that? Is that the like third one?
The third one.
Okay. I mean, yes, because the best stuff is still to come.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, for me, I've only done the arc route of Tsukihime.
There is a sequence in the fourth route that is absolutely the best bit of Tsukihime to me. Yeah.
But I think that just because of, for genre reasons, I think Tsukihime is always going to be something too I'm just more partial to than Fate. Just as a whole, I feel like as Nasu's career goes on, he makes things that are more popular, but I also feel like they are more compromised from the stuff he was making when he was younger.
Is Mihoyo more popular than Fate?
No, but he also, like, the original version of that was, I think, like, a book that he wrote before Fate. I think.
Okay.
Like, I know the VN is technically an adaptation, I want to say.
Okay.
But yeah, it's by no means more popular than Fate.
Yeah. I'm so surprised that Tsukihime Remake is still not on Steam yet, but I assume soon enough.
Apparently it's because he wanted people to experience that on the big screen, which I think is the funniest reason
I know
ever.
That was why on the release it was on PS4. I'm presuming that's changing a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably. Because like, not everything's got on Steam, so it's like, you know.
Oh, yes. Okay, so here's... I looked it up. Apparently, Mihoyo was originally a novel he wrote in the winter of 1996 that he tried to pitch to several places, like writing competitions, and, like, it didn't get anywhere. And then it was remade as a VN.
I will be playing that one.
I will be too.
I was concerned about that one because I heard... So I had a friend who played it, and was like, that translation was rough, and like just like a lot of typos, grammar shit, like issues and shit. And apparently they did recently like go back and like patch that, and it's much better now.
Typo Moon.
So
Typo Moon.
But yeah, Fate Stay Night, highly recommend you check that out since it's out now. If you listen to this podcast, chances are you might be interested in it.
Also, that's not her name.
No, it's not her name. I'm so mad about that still.
It's not her name. Don't let Fate Grand Order tell you otherwise.
I don't know why any place is like this.
It's
like it just doesn't make any sense for her name to be that.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Do you know where the name comes from? Like,
I have one last thing, and this is going to be a real quick recommendation. So, Netflix, another true crime power hour from Brad, but I'm going to keep it quick, more like Power Minute. So, Unsolved Mysteries, the reboot on Netflix, has been going on. Me, and it seems like most people, thought that the last season was pretty bad. So they came out with 5 more episodes as Volume 4. And this one seems to be like they did better this time around. Last season, notably, had a case where it seems like it was very obvious that it was a suicide, and then they left out all the parts where, like, the person's parents were horrifically abusive to them. And yeah, just seemed like a bad time. This time around seemed like they maybe picked better things to focus on, partially. The first episode is a very, very boring documentary episode about Jack the Ripper, and we don't need one of those again in 2024. That was worthless.
Iraqi already solved it.
Yeah, basically. The last one is about people who are seeing Mothman around Chicago, and I don't need that in my life either. The middle 3 are just like good old fashioned, like, okay, these are like actual unsolved mysteries that, like, it's probably good that people are getting like this out in the open so that they can get leads and stuff. But I'm specifically going to recommend the middle episode, the third episode of Volume 4 of Unsolved Mysteries, which is one of the most baffling things I feel like has been, like, shown on one of these docuseries as of late. And I'll keep it vague as to just let you experience it for yourself. But it starts with the premise of a 15-year-old boy is walking home, and on the side of the road finds a severed head, and he goes, I should call that into the police. And then things keep happening, and people keep getting involved that just make the whole thing way more baffling and bizarre. And you are left with, like, 20 more questions than any answers. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on here? I posted about it on Facebook after I watched it, like, what the fuck was that episode? And, like, 10 people I haven't talked to since high school were like, yeah, I watched that too, what the fuck is going on? It's just incredibly bizarre, and I do recommend it just because it's like, the world is so strange sometimes. Yeah. That's about all I had for this week.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be real. I don't have anything to say about Parasite Eve. It's a PlayStation 1 game.
It's a fun game.
I want to play
PlayStation
that.
1 brained right now.
Yeah.
I had a good time. I liked it. Okay, I do have one thing to say. It's like one of the only JRPGs where I have, I've had to, like, where, like, the inventory system is, like, important to the... I realize there are levels of engagement with JRPG combat systems. The items in a lot of JRPGs, items and stuff are there for if you're not casting buffs. Items are there for if you're not agonizing over each turn. Items are there for you to use your... I'm playing Dragon Quest XI as well in the background. I have not used, like, a single, like, medicinal herb since, like, the very, very early game. I simply know how to cast buffs. I am not running out of MP. It's fine. But Parasite Eve, the inventory system is like half of the game.
Yeah.
I quite like it. I think
which
it's
is
good.
fun because it also, it's like kind of survival horror, kind of like RPG like mix. It's a good mix.
It has the Vagrant Story target
things.
orb.
What was that, sorry?
The Vagrant Story target orb.
It does have the target orb. The target orb's pretty fun. I don't like it when I'm fighting bats and they're blinding me. That's the one time I'm like, I'm gonna kill somebody. I'm gonna kill somebody right now. But otherwise, yeah. I figured out how the upgrade system works, and then I was like, oh yeah, this all makes sense. And I was just having a good time.
Did you?
I think From Software should make an action RPG again. Like with RPG bosses instead of. I think there was a tweet going around a couple of months ago that was saying have From Software made an RPG again instead of a dodge roll simulator. I feel like Elden Ring's a bit of a dodge roll simulator.
There's a lack of cinematic feel in bosses or stuff like Ceaseless Discharge where there's a gimmick.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought Parasite Eve was really cool.
Did you beat the true final boss?
I mean, no, because I have to play it twice.
I don't think you have to play the whole game twice, but
you gotta go through. I don't know if you.
I got a new game plus it though.
Yeah, I do think it is funny though. They're like, yeah, to get the true final boss, you have to new game plus the game to access the final dungeon, which is a roguelike version of the Chrysler Tower.
The Chrysler Building.
The 100 floor dungeon.
It's so good. It's so good.
I will be playing it again to get that stuff around the time that game is set. I won't be playing it on Christmas, but like I'll be playing it like between Christmas and New Year is what I remember. Just like that feels right.
Yeah, this is why it's taking me so long to beat Mirzurna Falls, because I'm like, it's not snowing outside. It's summer. What am I doing? But I remember that Chrysler Building alternating between being extremely fun and also sometimes the randomization being really annoying.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, but Parasite Eve is a good time.
So yeah, I'm fully PlayStation brained right now. I held a poll and figured out that Resident Evil is going to be the next one I play.
That's a good game.
Which is good. Lucky, because it's one of the ones on my backlog bingo.
Have you ever played the original Resident Evil?
No.
Like even the remake?
No.
I have played a little bit of the remake.
Okay.
So I have not. Yeah.
It's a fun game.
Yeah. I remember playing the remake and turning on some tank controls and being like, yeah, this is the real shit.
Yeah.
But I then just kind of fell off. But yeah, I will be playing PS1 Resident Evil, and then I don't know where I go after that. Anyway,
I always appreciate that game for just being like they made a point and click adventure that's friendly to a console interface, and then just like, what if in between the puzzles we put a bunch of really spooky shit?
Yeah.
I'm like, genius.
All right. That's me. Are we ready to talk about Ultraman Ace?
The Tokyo Great Panic, the mad traffic signals?
Damn, I don't know. I mean,
Panic.
I was just saying, there's a finale. We were only starting the Ultraman and half an hour in.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay. So, Ultraman Ace. We got 3 more episodes, the last episodes of Ultraman Ace. Episode 50, Tokyo... No, is that the first one?
Yeah, Tokyo Great Panic, the mad traffic signals.
Yeah, I put the names on there.
Was the traffic
one
the first one?
Yeah, it's traffic, then violin, and then murder.
In my head, it was the other way around on the violin and the traffic. That's fine. Tokyo Great Panic, the mad traffic signals, featuring Signal, Choju, Signelion, and Alien Laball. Now, I was busy this week, and so I called in a lifeline, and Mel wrote the summaries. So I am reading these. I'm seeing these for the first time.
I hope it's good because it's the first time writing them.
They'll be fine. Let's go. Hokuto and Yamanaka are out on patrol when they get hit by a truck in the middle of an intersection. The driver is a woman named Yuki Ogawa, who is delivering produce. While both Yuki and Yamanaka argue that the other party was asleep at the wheel, the police show up and confiscate Yuki's license, demonstrating their cop solidarity, and much to Yuki's concern, as delivering this produce is important to her livelihood. Hokuto, however, believes Yuki is telling the truth, and to prove this, he insists on tailing Yuki, which is presumably something she would not find intimidating or discomforting in this situation. Hokuto sees that she is a small business owner raising her 2 younger brothers on her own and decides she is a good person. That's what we all know about small business owners, is that they're good people. Just then, Mikawa radios in to tell them that similar incidents are happening all across Tokyo on a massive scale. The 2 TAC members make their way on foot through the crowds and traffic as mass chaos and carnage is unleashed on the streets around them, with vehicles smashing into one another after... that's me reading. With vehicles smashing into each other, one after the other. Hokuto believes this cannot be a mere error. Right on cue, the traffic lights start flashing and a voice, Alien Lebol, begins... That's Leborl. Lebol. I don't have the necessary accent to make clear that there is an extra R in there. Alien Lebol begins speaking through them to the people of Tokyo. The Lebol demand that the people of Tokyo vacate the city for reasons never made clear, or else face the wrath of their curiously traffic-light-themed god Signalion, whose image is projected via traffic light onto a strange egg in the sky. The other TAC members attempt to shoot down the egg, but it disappears in a puff of smoke. Angered, the Lebol start shooting the people of Tokyo with elemental beams from the traffic lights. This is a cool JRPG boss.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah. I love they're themed by color. Excellent.
Each light has a different status effect associated with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the yellow made those people go crazy, I was like, I've played Elden Ring. Yoshimura informs the 2 lads on the ground that the Lebol's secret base must be in the sewers, based on radio signals he is detecting. After blowing off the asphalt, covering a manhole cover to get in, Hokuto and Yamanaka descend and discover Lebol disguised as humans broadcasting from a machine. Yamanaka draws them away, leaving Hokuto to destroy the device, but the aliens teleport him behind him Batman style and reveal their true forms. Some hands get thrown, and then the aliens get shot in the head. With their dying breath, they say, "Our death is only the beginning," and Yamanaka goes, "Lol, okay, dude." The 2 celebrate a job well done and inform Yuki of her proven innocence, and she teases them for the soot on their faces. Just then, Signalion shows up and starts rampaging in Tokyo. Hokuto and Yamanaka swear to protect the vegetable shop, but Yamanaka gets injured, leaving Hokuto to run ahead onto the roof of a building that explodes, and then he turns into Ace. Masterful gambit, sir. The battle rages as the OP plays for like the 10th time since Minami left. It's ridiculous. And Ace gets tripped up by Signalion's light-based attacks until the writers decide he can just handle it, and then the day is saved. The cops from before come by to return Yuki's license, claiming they obviously believed her the whole time. As her brothers come home, expressing concern for her well-being in the middle of a disaster, Yuki just says, "Don't worry, I'm built different," and everyone has a good laugh. The end. How we feel about this episode?
That's pretty alright.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I liked the scenes of the different lights causing havoc around town. I can take or leave the small business owner of the week storyline we get here.
Yeah. I'm also just like Yamanaka in this episode.
Yes,
He's got some good
I
bits.
do think them doing the fun little infiltration is like one of the best parts of the episode.
He is misogynist at the start, which is fine.
Remind me of the misogyny. What's he doing?
Let me get the.
Oh yeah, he's talking about how women can't drive. Yes, I remember now.
He's like, women and truckers can't drive.
Women and truckers. That's the two categories.
I think he had a third one too, but I have to check.
God forbid there is a woman trucker. Double can't drive.
Yeah. Here it is. It's women drunks and truckers.
Women drunks and one of these is correct. One of these is drunks are bad drivers. That is true. That's 1 out of 3 ain't bad, but the other 2, calm down. yeah, I like Yamanaka and Hokuto. I feel like it's strange how late they've realized that they should be fighting people on foot in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took them like...
Well, I feel like...
It took them to the end of Kamen Rider 71's run.
I feel like this episode, too, is also a little bit people scrambling to figure out what to do to fill, like, the last few episodes of the show and being like, oh, we could do, like, an Ultra 7 invasion type story. And I think some of it maybe came from that.
Yeah.
Because
Ultra
I was
7,
like, oh, yeah,
with cartoon gimmicking, like a Sentai episode or something.
a little bit, yeah.
Because now that I think about it, it definitely feels like a Sentai plot.
Okay.
Just like, oh yeah, there's the traffic light monsters causing problems with traffic lights, and I have to save the day.
I'm surprised this episode didn't have a character in it who has like trauma, like traffic light related trauma.
Yeah. And actually, it's exactly like a Sentai episode because they killed the aliens, and then like the big monster comes out at the end.
Oh yeah, you're right. True. Hokuto is not as cool as some of the robots in Sentai.
Definitely not.
I've seen that Bioman robot. Bioman just seems like a super robot show. Just a real super robot show.
Yeah,
like
I think their 80s and 90s Sentai shows lean into more to the robot stuff, and then later ones they become like ancillary and more the too much toys aspect kind of like brings it down more. But I do like the robots in the 90s shows. They're good.
Yeah. I think if I was gonna watch like one Sentai, if I was gonna watch two Sentai shows, it would be Bioman and Jetman. Nothing has been more like, even your whole thing talking about Jetman was not as persuasive as that one clip of the cool guy getting introduced, punching that guy out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they really...
Yeah,
I was like, everyone really means it about this guy. This guy's fucking cool.
Yeah, episode 2 of Jetman is just like... Red Ranger Ryu like tries to do a nice gesture of like lighting Black Ranger Guy's cigarette, and then Guy just punches him in the face.
Yeah. We've immediately tangented away from the episode of Ultraman Ace we have watched. This is a clear sign. This is... I think
this is the one we have at least to talk about anyway.
Yeah, I quite like this alien. I quite like the stupid traffic light theme.
Yeah, I think that part's fun.
I think they do a good job of like, actually, yeah, it would be kind of fucked to have all the traffic lights go crazy.
Yeah, it's a pretty good like citywide chaos stuff going on. They have so much fun blowing up cars. It's crazy. So yeah, I quite like all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, I remember one thing I didn't put in the summary, but my notes is like Alien and Labor reveals themselves, and they in a team of 3 touch of death Hokuto, classic UMVC stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. That does kind of happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Yamanaka when he lures them away. He's like, "Hey, nice job, guys."
Yep, it's so good. Yeah, that entire sequence is like my favorite part of this episode.
And then like they kill him. They kill the aliens, and they're like, "Oh, well, they'll catch you." And then Yama's like, "Yeah, right. You're fucking dead. Shut the fuck up."
Yamanaka's cool in this one. Yamanaka swings wildly between dumbest man alive and the only cool person in Ultraman Ace.
Yeah.
Ah, no, I mean, Ryu is always cool.
Hang on, yeah, the captain. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to slander the captain.
You could just say, like, sometimes he's cooler than Ryu, and sometimes he's a dumbass.
Yeah. I do like it when he pulls his 2 guns and then, like, crosses them over as though that does more damage.
He does a twosome time.
Yeah. Who made this episode?
New director Kiyosumi Fukasawa.
Again?
Yes. Who I looked up, did not find any info on, but it seems like he does work on more Ultraman stuff. So like, We will see this guy around again. But yeah,
it's like we're 3 episodes from the end. You're picking up new people still.
Yeah.
Maybe this is just me being the person who like looks at who's writing and directing everything. I feel like they've been scrambling for a bit here of like, fuck, nobody has any ideas, or we just don't know what to do. Get someone. Just
They're
get someone to make one of
Suikoden.
these. They are. There are a lot of cooks in this kitchen.
Yeah. Chill out.
Maybe that was the problem with the show to begin with. Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
This was written by Toshiro Ishido, so that's not a new name.
Yeah.
Okay. Mal.
Special effects director is Shinichi Kamezawa. I don't have a lot on him. He works on Future Ultra stuff, as well as he worked on like Toho's Zone Fighter and Japan Zinx. This is his first time as special effects director, but he's been in an assistant role for most of the show at this point. Then we have Laboral, created by Yoshio Suzuki. Apparently, the tights on the suit repurposed from like the pool guys, not like the big one, but the one we'd see in like the background in earlier episodes, like when they cut away to the filter. That suit. Note, I never mentioned this, but those pool guys were also designed by Akihiko Oguchi, just so we have that tied up. And the human forms were primarily paired by Takanobu Toya, who you may remember from the Ultraman run back doing a lot of kaiju suit acting, and then Eiichi Kikuchi, who plays Ultraman 2 suit actor.
Okay.
Then we got Signalion, modified by no idea who made this guy, but it's modified from Daidara Hoshi, the one from the time travel episode. Quick turnaround on that one.
Oh, I can see it now that you reference it.
And then the main kaiju suit actor for 48 to the end of the show is Tokyo Yajima. No info on that guy.
Okay. Wow.
And that's it.
Do we have anything more to say about this episode? What's going on?
We should have pedestrian-only crossing signals.
Pedestrian-only crossing signals.
Yeah. Because over here, when the light's green, there's also like the parallel green pedestrian sign.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry. I'm so used to that in real life. I had never thought of them as being their own separate thing. But yes, you are correct. I was just like, I don't know what those are. I was like, oh, yes, I do. Of course I do. Yes. Fuck cars. Kind of. I realize, I'm, easier for me to say in Europe.
Are you saying you're going to subject us to the tyranny of 15-minute walkable cities?
I want to subject you to the tyranny. I want to subject you to the glorious tyranny of the pleasure of catching a train. Trains
I can count
are so
on one
good.
hand the amount of times I've been on a train in my life.
Crazy.
Train, is that the thing I took in Japan? That seems like a thing of
Yeah.
myth and legend.
Yeah. Trains are good. Trains are good. I mean, obviously there are contexts where trains are evil, but in the context in which they're good, trains are good.
See,
You can say that about a lot of things. In the context of they're evil. But in the context where they're good.
Yeah.
This is the difference between you and me, because like train to you is is how you get from point A to point B, but that's how I train to me is what I do to defeat my rivals.
Wow.
I don't have any rivals.
You should get a fucking
I
rival.
should get a rival.
Yeah.
Submit your applications, Ultra Q Pod. No. Tell me why I should hate you.
Damn. I guess as of this week, I don't have a rival. I don't have a rival. He thinks about me.
What do you mean? As of this week, did someone you hate die?
No, I got into a fight with someone I hate.
Oh, okay.
It's a whole deal. It's
think
a
I saw
whole
that.
deal. I was picking fights I was never gonna win on Twitter. It's all good.
Oh.
If you have an account that's like very small, don't poke people who have like 10k followers. Nothing bad happened to me. But I like to think that's because of my sheer aura, but it's because he doesn't care. That's the only reason.
You do like to kick the hornet's nest on Twitter.com.
I do. That's why I don't plug my Twitter account on this show. Okay, let's move on to episodes with more going on.
Yeah,
episode
these
51.
ones were longer summaries.
Yes, episode 1, the life-sucking
51.
sound. What did I say?
You said episode 1.
Well, that's incorrect. I don't think I said. I would be wrong if I said that, and I don't think I'm wrong. I definitely episode 51, the life-sucking sound, featuring violin Choju Gigon. I don't know why it's called Gigon. Haruo loves baseball, and it turns out he's pretty good at it. Unfortunately, his mother, like many parents, insists he must spend his time fulfilling his late father's dream, and he should follow in his footsteps and become a master violinist. Despite getting encouraging words from his violin teacher, such as, "You have the best violin out of all of us, so you must work harder,"
This child will grow up to compose "Blinded by Light" for the Final Fantasy XIII OST.
I would like to interrupt this summary to introduce an idea. This isn't real. You can't have a better violin. That's not true. You can have a more expensive violin, but it doesn't play better.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he meant just like it was expensive or because it is his dad's violin.
Also, like, it better not be that expensive a violin, because presumably it's not the full size violin that he would play as an adult. Anyway, stupid.
I guess child-sized instruments are a thing, huh?
Violins have their quarter-size violins, half-size violins, and three-quarter-size violins. And then, full-size violins. But a child of his stature would not have a full-size violin. So I hope he doesn't have an expensive half-size violin. Get the fuck out of here.
Maybe his dad was very tiny.
He just had a small dad. Short.
He's just a little guy.
Short king. Haruo insists he has no talent and leaves in the middle of his lesson. His mother, being informed of this, scolds him. She prays in front of his father's shrine, wishing that his spirit would make Haruo a brilliant violinist, and threatens Haruo by saying, you will never play baseball again if you skip violin practice. As Haruo is about to get sent back on his way, he notices his father's photo wink and smile at him. If I had a conspiratorial ghost dad who had left me with the curse of his last words, I would be angry. I would be like, don't make your last words suck if you're then gonna be like on my side after death as a ghost. Fuck off. Haruo considers purposely losing or breaking the violin, so he has an excuse to quit, but he's foiled in both attempts. First by a friendly passerby, and second by a beam of lightning, which seems to cause the violin to become possessed. The violin floats up, and Haruo automatically starts playing better than he's ever played before, right in the middle of the sidewalk, as two unnamed girls from his violin lessons show up, one of whom is the actual important one to the plot of this episode. At that moment, Tak picks up a reading from Haruo's exact location, and Hokuto and Mikawa are sent over. After he finishes playing, Haruo proclaims he has become a genius as he collapses on the ground. The less important girl tries playing, and the same thing happens. The important girl decides this is clearly weird and runs to get Haruo's mother. Hokuto and Mikawa pull up upon seeing two kids out of it on the side of the road and see the enlarged violin fly away into the sky, which Haruo doesn't seem to mind. Important girl and Haruo's mum show up, and mum frets over the fact the violin has gone AWOL, despite Hokuto explaining that the violin has clearly become a choju, and your son likely needs medical attention. While Mikawa takes the unimportant girl to the hospital, Hokuto takes the important girl with him to track down the violin, with Haruo's mum insisting on bringing him and herself along for the ride instead of also taking him to the hospital. I guess they do never give this girl a name.
No.
I
tried to the episode for a name.
You checked, yeah. As they sometimes do this, but as they chase after the violin, Mikawa radios to inform them that the girl's life force has been drained. Hokuto surmises that the violin is the one producing the sound, but it has people play it to drain their energy, becoming larger in the process. The gang is able to see this firsthand as they see the now cello-sized violin take another victim in a park. Haruo's mother, however, believes the possessed violin will help Haruo become a master and steals Hokuto's gun to prevent him from shooting it. I'd love to know how she thinks Haruo is going to play this like a violin. I would love to see that image in her head. The violin becomes kaiju-sized and flies in the air. Now, do we mean Choju-sized? Or is this a pre-stage?
Don't think about it too much.
Cool, okay. Including hypnotizing the people of the park with its music, including Haruo's mother. Meanwhile, Tak starts dogfighting with it. This is incredible.
So good.
Hokuto is eventually able to swipe his gun away and help shoot the violin down, whereupon it reveals its true form, the Choju Gigon. As the rest of Tak gets shot down, Hokuto is left to fight alone. However, he is interrupted as he must push the still hypnotized mother out of the way of Gigon's footsteps. Getting stepped on himself in the process, he becomes Ace. Gigon's sound attacks disorient Ace, leaving him momentarily unable to fight. Snapping out of it, Ace takes it upon himself to deal with the problem directly by cutting each of Gigon's strings. Each time a string is severed, Haruo's mum takes psychic damage as she weeps over the destruction of the violin. With one final Jesus beam, Gigon dissipates and everyone's life force is restored, although Haruo's mum still needs to be hospitalized. Hokuto and Ryu believe that the Choju was born out of the twin twisted feelings of Haruo's hatred toward the violin and his mother's obsession with making him a violinist. Later, everyone watches Haruo play baseball with his friends, and his mother remarks that she has never seen him so happy before. Hokuto and Ryu repeat the moral of the episode that children should be allowed to follow their passions. After all, this will help them get good grades in school. The end.
I am a very split mind about this episode.
Oh, I'm not. I love this episode.
Go for it.
You left that vague enough as to
Brad.
which one. So, on one hand, positively, I think that this episode, along with that hot air balloon one, and remember that guy with the weird fucking boat?
Yeah.
Guy with the weird boat.
Yeah.
Explain.
He had
The hotel.
the boat started floating.
Oh, King, my
Yeah.
favorite guy in the show.
So I feel like there are glimpses of the show where it goes full silly mode like that, in a way that I almost wish more episodes leaned into, and I think this episode does a good job of kind of being in that space, while telling a pretty good children's story about you should be able to follow your dreams and not have the burden of your parents' hopes for how your life's going to turn out, weigh you down and force you into doing something you don't actually want to do that you're not passionate about, sort of thing. And I think all that stuff works. On the other hand, I also something about the delivery of that story in this episode feels unnatural to me in a way that I can only explain as I feel like they maybe would have given a little more care to these characters and kind of this kid situation in something like Return of Ultraman, or even Ultra 7 Original Ultraman, that era of the show, where, and I know I've talked about this before, but sometimes I feel like they're skipping some steps with telling these stories now, where they're oh, you've seen one of these before, right? So we can just get into the fun stuff of the monsters being chased around and the special effects stuff going on. And I just something about how quickly we get into it here and how fast we go from scene to scene to scene. I just wish we sat with this kid a little bit more. I don't know, something about it just rubbed me the wrong way.
Okay. I am very familiar with this kid. I was not this kid. I knew kids like this. But this is just I mean, I did not choose to learn to play the violin, right? But I, and there were times I was just this is fucking miserable. I'd rather be doing anything else. But I stuck with it because I was just like, I was a child. I was just like, well, whatever, okay. My parents are telling me to do this. I have to do it. But I knew people who tried to lose their violin. Absolutely. Because the fucking sucks. So I'm this kind of works for me just because this gestures at like a bunch of people that I just know. I just knew in real life. So I didn't run into that issue. Mal.
Yeah, I just mostly think this episode's fun. Like, I think it's ridiculous and absurd. Just everything with like the set pieces of like the violin and the dogfight is good. The
dogfight's so fucking good.
Just like the ridiculous stuff. This stuff is just like, I could have been like, listen, it's obviously a Choju now. Why are you treating it like a normal violin?
It's like he's gonna be a master of the craft.
And this episode isn't like on the same level, obviously, but like some of the stuff with just like the way his mom was reacting and like how that basically reacting to the physical strikes of Ace against the kaiju or Choju. I mean, remind me of like episode 4, which
a lot
stronger episode. And more serious than this one, but like I like the kind of like it gave this one a little more kick that I liked and appreciated. Just like, oh yeah, that was a good episode, and then like they're doing something not quite the same, but like it's comparable, and I liked it.
Also, in terms of like the coin flip on that you get when an episode of Ultraman has like a moral that it wants to teach you, it's a real coin flip on whether it's going to be normal or evil. And this is one of the good ones.
Yeah, I also feel like it's very. I feel like this is a very basic, like.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how many people would disagree with this one. No, on
one hand, yes. On the other hand, there's still people like this.
Well, yes,
like the mom,
But think of the target audience for the show.
Yeah, but also
it's going to be the kids.
Maybe the intention was like, well, maybe some of their parents are watching.
Oh yeah, there is that too.
The moment that the violin flew away into the sky, I was like, okay, we got something. Let's go.
And now I will say, if this was an episode without Ultraman per se, it could be a pretty good Ultra Q episode too.
Oh yeah,
it did have those vibes a little bit.
That's true. Man,
I like that we don't really get much of an explanation for why this happens outside of her feelings like maybe caused this.
Yeah,
like it's left pretty nebulous. I did appreciate that part of it too.
It's like
we've been over explaining the Choju a little bit sometimes this series, so that was kind of a return to basics. I appreciated.
And you can like choose to fill in like whether this is a pool thing, just because they like. It's a coin flip on whether people actually care, because they haven't really brought it up much.
You mentioning... Oh, sorry. Was I... Were you wrapping up that thought?
I guess I was wrapping up. I was just like, you can read this as a pool's influence, even though it's not actually said in the episode, which I think is nice, because, it helps when you can, like, actually bring in the fragments of pool actually mattering, even if it's, like, not a thing most of the writers cared about.
And even if there are still we'll get into a next episode. Yeah. I feel like I understand your pool less than when the show started.
Yeah.
Well,
we mentioned the boat episode. That is not, I would not call that a good episode, but I do like it a lot. And
Same.
The problem with it, the main problem with it is that they're trying to explain where the Choju comes from. Right, because it's like gotta be your pool's plan. It's like your pool planned to have a Choju here, and like they're the one doing the thing with the ship instead of like operating in this metaphorical space with it.
Ironically, the episode probably would work better in the post retool era where they didn't bother.
Yeah, I mean it's Minami's not in it, so yes.
She was very displeased about that.
Yeah, the actor was pissed off.
Yep.
This is when we get to like our final thoughts on the show. One of the the running themes that I have run into is when I think about it, the first half of the show was not exactly good for Minami either. It's just that the second half, she's not in it.
Yeah.
I don't, but anyway, yeah, I had a pretty good time with this episode, all in all. One of the Ace's better ones, not necessarily in like, going into the Hall of Fame of classics in the way that like the Incel episode is.
I feel like I'm running into an issue with the second half of this show a lot, where I can never shake the feeling that these are people going in and going, oh, we need to make an Ultraman episode, whereas I feel like in prior shows we had a lot more like, oh, we have this story we want to tell in the vein of like Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, Star Trek, and like now that the foundation has been laid for, oh, this is what Ultraman is, I sometimes worry a little bit like, oh no, are we constricting ourselves?
You mean like the franchisification, which happens when they start making the lore and the crossovers and stuff at the same time too?
See, not even just that, but like, what does an Ultraman episode look like? You know? What types of stories are we telling? And I think it's becoming a little bit more recursive quicker than I would have hoped it would, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. We've talked a little bit about the show becoming another one of these, and I think part of that is just like when the people and the talent involved need to make an episode, they're starting to look at, okay, what have we done in the past that worked? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, and I mean, like, it is a job. Obviously, that's like a good professional step to take, but I do wonder if sometimes that limits the creativity a little bit. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Who made
But
this
overall,
one?
I do think if, as Ultraman Ace as, like, a kid show, I do think this is one of the better, like, oh, this is a good episode for the children sort of thing.
Yeah. Who made this episode?
Masanori Kake directed, and then it was written also by Toshiro Ishido, who has written 3 episodes in a row. He also did the Jellyfish one.
Okay.
Special effects director is Koichi Takano. Noda On, who designed Gigon, we can probably guess it's one of the 2 guys. And the body is new, but the face is repurposed from Kaimando.
Okay. I wish I had a new body and a repurposed face.
Jesus Christ.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but I could do some hijinks with it, I bet.
Okay, Envy.
If I could just have like a second, if we could go Ghost in the Shell and I could get like a collection of different bodies, that'd be good.
If I could upload myself to the net, I would do it in a heartbeat.
I would simply be one of those people who feels like it's not actually me I'm the kind of person who, like, I understand all the like the ideas that like continuity of the self is not actually like is like less of a real thing than you might think it is. But I am someone who thinks that when they use the teleporters in Star Trek, they're dying.
Absolutely. No, I
am absolutely someone who thinks that. So I'm absolutely someone who thinks that uploading my brain into a computer is, I'm just convincing the computer it's me instead of actually me going in there.
See, I think the sacrifice is worth it, so I can like turn the Las Vegas sphere into like a perpetual dick butt or something stupid.
I see. Yeah. Did we say? Yeah, we got into who made this episode.
Yes, we did.
Okay. I was like, how did we get? Yes, we got into here because of the Choju suit, of course.
The Choju design, yes.
Yeah, don't say kaiju. Don't you get kicked from the podcast?
One more week.
Yeah, one more week we can go back to kaiju. Remember
unless
kaiju?
Unless they have their own name again, which would be funny.
I will open this window and throw. No, I'm okay. I got a playing anime music quiz, and I had like a really annoying round, and I took a snip of like what the message that I sent in the chat, because I just said I'm gonna, and then my next message was I'm okay. As me when I'm mildly inconvenienced.
Wait, speaking of mildly inconvenienced, I'm gonna murder this fucking spider.
Do it.
No.
There we go. I got it. Here, hold on. Let me just toss this.
R.I.P. spider.
Murder.
I don't do that for spiders. The only bug that I do that for is crane flies, like daddy long legs.
You call them crane flies?
No, I call them daddy long legs, but like
Okay.
I for a moment there I was like, I don't know if they call them that in America. I was like I don't know. I don't know what region this is from.
Daddy longlegs are harvestmen or arachnids.
No, I'm not talking. Okay, daddy long legs can mean multiple things.
I can?
Yes, it's not a spider of any kind. It's a flying bug.
No, I'm pretty sure like harvestmen aren't spiders, but they're arachnids.
What are you talking about? So this is what I'm saying is I'm talking about crane flies.
Yeah, I see.
Which over here you can call daddy long legs.
Okay. Daddy long legs
yes.
here are like little spider-looking fuckers that aren't technically spiders, but have long legs.
Yeah, no, I don't. I leave those alone.
And
They're
also
chill.
my Tinder profile name.
Okay.
What's American Prometheus been up to?
Dating. Actually, I did go on a date yesterday. Funny enough.
As American Prometheus? What?
No.
Okay.
No. I would never force someone to put up with that. But
yes, I do. I kill crane flies because they can't fly properly and their legs bother me. And so, like, I'm a very peaceful person who would never hurt a fly, and then...
But you've judged them as a lower life form that should not exist in your
And then
household.
a crane fly flies into my room, and I'm like, bad luck, motherfucker, and then I nail it from across the room with a book and scratch another notch into my table leg. I do not... it's not their fault, but I can't stand them, so rip. They should, I should let one go alive so it can tell its friends not to come into my room.
Damn.
Are we done talking about the
I think
violent?
I hope the next
We
year
might
isn't
be.
this.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's fine.
I have hopes.
I mean,
I'm a dreamer.
for what it's worth,
Yeah.
I don't think Taro is disliked as Ace is.
Okay. Good. It's been. I remember when we found out that the only thing I knew about Ace going into it was that it had a divisive reputation, and I was like, "Ooh, that'll be fun." And it wasn't fun.
No.
I clipped that moment the other day because I was like, "Oh, that's funny."
Yeah, good. All right. The finale of Ultraman Ace. So remember the last few weeks I've been saying, like, I've been kind of getting the vibe that the finale of Ultraman Ace might be really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now listen.
Yeah.
Ultraman fans may think this.
Do they?
I think they.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm not gonna pass. Judgment withheld. Where I simply have to go through this summary. Episode 52. You Are the Ace of Tomorrow, featuring Ultimate Choju, Jumbo King, and Alien Simon. This motherfucker's called Simon.
Also, every time they said Jumbo King, I'm like, this is an order at a fake fast food restaurant. Like, I could go for a Jumbo King after we're done with this podcast.
Yeah, you can get a Jumbo King at McDaniel's.
Yeah, exactly.
Char loves getting a Jumbo King.
It makes him feel big.
Quattro, sorry. I don't know who Char is. 2 alien spacecraft are engaged in the skies over Japan, and one is shot down. TAC investigates the crash site and find no pilot in the wreckage. like it's the beginning of Pat Labor the movie. But in the nearby woods, discover 3 kids in Ultra Brother masks role-playing the lynching of a lone alien child. This is Alien Simon, one of the last of a race that has been annihilated by the Yapul and now live as a diaspora across the galaxy. TAC decide to take Simon with them into protective custody, with the children almost gleefully asking if Simon will be executed because he's an alien. Hokuto is mortified and scolds the children, claiming that the real Ultra Brothers protect the weak and would never condone such prejudice. Disclaimer, written here by Mel. Disclaimer, the genocide counter is currently at 8.
The way I, perked up in my chair when we got to this part of the episode, I cannot understand.
The level of revisionism on display. I could not believe my eyes. As TAC, I can see where Ultraman fans get everything they think about Ultraman from. And it's from Ultraman, which keeps lying. As TAC drives away, Simon seems to detect something. Look in the sky. The ghost of the Yapul calls upon the vengeful souls of defeated Choju to gather and fuse to become one ultimate Choju, Jumbo King. Hokuto is injured as he takes Simon away. They are led by the now reformed children to their underground base, where they perform first aid. Yapul demands Simon be handed over for some reason, claiming he has no quarrel with humanity right now, but that he will destroy the city if they don't cooperate. The children decide they want to be Simon's friend and protect him. Hokuto is proud of the kids and heads out to leave when he is suspiciously shot by Simon in the leg with some kind of stun beam. The kids assume Simon just wants Hokuto to stay because he's worried about him, which Hokuto accepts. It's at this point that I'm like, uh-oh. Meanwhile, TAC is helpless to stop Jumbo King's rampage, and half the city is destroyed. Jumbo King disappears, with Yapul promising to return the next day to destroy the rest of the city. When Simon goes to turn himself in, the children stop him and say they can count on Ace to save the day. Hokuto heads back to base, where Captain Ryu explains that the dead Choju were able to revive and combine because of all the Yapul particles in the atmosphere, although Yapul's own physical location cannot be ascertained. Yamanaka suggests acquiescing to the demands to save the city, but Hokuto argues that houses can be rebuilt, but the hearts of the children cannot be so easily mended after being betrayed. Hokuto, easily? I don't know about that. This ironclad reasoning wins the day, as Ryu suggests there is a way to defeat Jumbo King while still preserving the city and the children's innocence. TAC's new prototype super weapon, the cell decomposition missile. Nothing says innocence like a prototype super weapon. That night, Hokuto looks up at the stars and receives a message from Minami. She warns him that if anyone discovers his identity as Ace, he will never be able to become human again, despite the fact that it's 10.5 minutes before the show ends and we're hearing about this for the very first time. Hokuto says, I'm well aware of this, but I wonder why you're reminding me now. It seems like strange timing. The next morning, the cell decomposition missile has been set up, and Hokuto is sent by Ryu to tend to Simon and the children. Upon reaching their base, Hokuto finds that the 3 boys have formed an entire children's militia, all armed and ready to protect Simon from Yapul. As the time approaches, Simon's antenna goes off again as Jumbo King manifests. This does not escape Hokuto's notice. TAC fires the missile, which ultimately fails and the weapon platform is destroyed. Fuck your super weapons. With Jumbo King approaching the children's base, everyone evacuates into the woods. Hokuto once again escorts Simon and is fired upon in the process. Suddenly, Simon turns to speak to Hokuto. It's the voice of Yapul. Yapul reveals they, disguised as Simon, have laid a trap for Hokuto in order to force him to transform in front of everyone, something they have clearly also known for longer than the past few minutes of the episode runtime. The main 3 boys arrive in time to see Hokuto pull a gun on Simon Yapul, who taunts Hokuto, like in that one episode of Return of Ultraman, that no one believes their friend Simon is secretly Yapul. If Hokuto shoots, he will betray the children's trust. With this, Yapul will kill 2 birds with 1 stone, removing Ace from the playing field while erasing the concept of kindness, as this betrayal will lead humanity into despair. Hokuto cuts off the monologue by shooting Simon Yapul in the head, and the children become enraged at Hokuto's seemingly hypocritical police brutality. Hokuto tries to explain, no, Simon was really... I know I said that you shouldn't kill all aliens, but this one was bad. Simon was really Yapul. But just like in that one episode of Return of Ultraman, the only proof he has is telepathy, which both Ibuki and the children understand only makes sense if you're Ultraman. Unconvinced, the children proclaim they are now ideologically opposed to the concept of kindness. Cornered and realizing the significance of Minami's words, Hokuto gathers his resolve and puts on his best Robert Downey Jr. at the end of Iron Man 2006 impression as he reveals that he is indeed Ultraman Ace. Tak rocks up at that moment just in time for Hokuto to declare, "This is Ultraman Ace's final battle." Hokuto, I have a correction for you. Ultraman Ace will have many more battles after this. This is your final battle, my friend. You are fucking dying. Hokuto runs off and transforms, believing this to be his only option left. Hokuto, as Ace, thinks to himself, "Goodbye, Earth. Goodbye, fellow Tak members. Goodbye, Hokuto Seiji," as Ryu and the rest of Tak stand speechless and dumbfounded, which is how they will spend the rest of the episode. Ace fights Jumbo King and even rides the Choju for a bit, like in that one episode of Ultraman. But ultimately is tossed to the ground and trampled. As the sun begins to set, the children cheer Ace on, giving Ace the much-needed boost to throw Jumbo King off and blast it into oblivion. With the day saved, Ace, as himself, turns to the crowd and gives one final speech. "Don't lose your kindness. Take care of the weak and help each other. And don't stop trying to be friendly with people from other countries, no matter how many times you're disappointed." Those are my last wishes. The children, and Ryu under his breath, bid Ace farewell as he flies into the sky, this time for good. "Goodbye, Hokuto. Goodbye, Ultraman Ace. We might miss you less than the other guys." The end. Also, there's a cast roll or something. Yeah, this took me out. When the theme played and they're going through like, the freeze frames on
Friends
Ryu
montage.
Yeah.
I have a bit of trivia that I've been sitting on for weeks now that I think will segue wonderfully into us discussing our thoughts on this episode.
Go for
it. Ichikawa said that the last wish uttered by Ace at the end of the final episode was written as a parting shot to the Ultra series, which had transformed into a work that did not suit his direction.
Dude.
That was his fuck you.
Oh, that's even better.
That's okay. You know what? Fair.
I think
you know what? Fair play.
That moves this episode up a point. Just knowing there is spite in this episode.
Yes.
So here's my thing, because this episode had me, especially when the children are beating the shit out of Simon.
Yes.
And then Hokuto's like, "That's not what Ultraman is about." Now, I really thought we were going to get an episode that really wrestled with that, and like. Obviously, I knew, like, okay, Ichikawa came to close out the series, and maybe this is going to be him venting his frustrations for what it became. But I feel like it gets undermined by the fact that the whole pivotal climax of this episode is, Ultraman is going to be right no matter what, and to convince the children of the world that this wasn't a horrendous, extrajudicial, shooting... I have to prove to them that I am in fact Ultraman, who is always right.
it's the nerve to make an episode about how the only brave choice Ultraman can make in this difficult situation is to kill the alien that deserves it.
And then
I
himself.
was like, that's every episode of fucking Ultraman.
Now,
I also think it's funny that it's like, I have to take responsibility by it's like we talked about. I think it reminds me a bit of like earlier on where like Yamanaka killed that guy or something, and like or like tried to blow up the alien, made things worse. It's like, I'll take responsibility by being suspended, and Ryu's like, well, no, that's not taking responsibility.
Responsibility. Get the fuck, don't do it.
And here Hokuto's like,
is wrong with you?
I will take responsibility for the extrajudicial killing by just cessing my existence.
Yeah. That means that nothing bad happened. Right. So yeah, I think it's truly bizarre to open this episode on, like, first of all, historical revisionism regarding Ultraman's role in the. I truly think it's like the specific thing is like he says like Ultraman is always on the side of the weak, and like now
like the episode Ambassador Non-Malt where the ghost says, "Dan, what are you doing?"
This is the thing is like this is not just revisionism of like the people not getting that their show of like people not getting that the Ultraman the show is like evil. This is like revisionism on the level of like just ignoring like,
the work that's already been done.
Yes, like
yeah,
there are other episodes about the fact that Ultraman is not on the side of the weak. Ultraman is on the side of humanity fundamentally, regardless of whether they're in the right.
Yeah.
The Marucci episode is about this, is about the fact that at the end of the day, even if Hideki Go thinks these people deserve to die, I'm going to save them anyway.
Yeah, like he couldn't protect the weak in that save, but he did save the people.
Yes. He could save them. He could save the majority from the vengeful spirit of the weak that got killed by the majority.
And I wonder,
and it's
I wonder if this place, in this case, in Ace, because like a more simplified superhero and now kids show, it gets muddied a bit just because like, oh, Yapul is the strong and humanity is the weak in this case, where it just simplifies the binary a lot more.
Yeah, that might be the issue.
Whereas I think like
it feels like
the previous 3 shows we watched were a lot more interested in like, you know, they're the hero is usually right in a lot of them, but there were enough episodes where like we did have a dilemma or at least like a self-awareness that helped.
It feels like an acknowledgement of a tension that is central to these shows and like a reflection on a problem, but then the answer that they come to thematically is one that feels more like an idealized version of what we already know is not the case.
Yeah, like when there's a flashback to like maybe a month or so ago when we subtweeted a clip of a super president saying, "Oh yeah, Ultraman is like, you know, has a tenderness to them," as they see the shot of Ultraman carefully placing the GRS frill that he ripped off onto the corpse.
Yeah, like brutally dismembering
it's just got me,
this kaiju and then being like, oh, poor kaiju that I murdered.
Yeah, I think it just got me thinking. Like there's a version of this franchise that like the writers of the franchise and like the fans of the franchise tell themselves what it is. That it probably makes sense in like some sort of like liberal framework, but I think if you like look below the surface, it doesn't actually make sense. We think they're like the militarism in it,
and I think we're better. I think this series is like better off when it's like most of the time the people making it aren't necessarily thinking about it, and then someone comes along and makes an episode about how this is fucked up. Because like I think this is so and it's such a weird way to try to like flatten it out.
Yeah. Like I think
it's strange.
If this episode was like more self-aware about wrestling with attention, then like the super weapon being rolled out could be a tongue-in-cheek like self-aware commentary thing rather than just like a thing they're just doing it very flatly and played straight. Like, oh yes, the solution to the problem is the super weapon that will protect everyone's innocence.
You know what? This is the superhero Ultraman because we are rapidly approaching discourse territory of all Batman does is beat up mentally ill people. Like, this is exactly what this is, but with giant monsters instead. It's like the same issues, right? Just like within... This is what you get when you have the framework of the hero that solves all the problems and will always have the moral high ground no matter how fucked up the situation actually is. We'll always frame it as they are in the right.
And this is like previous Ultraman where it's like the two episodes where I have like understood Ultraman's like appeal as like a superhero character were the finale of Ultra 7, where it was like only Ultra 7 can do this. Like the rest of the team can defeat the aliens, but only Ultra 7 can save Amagi. Then like in a jar, very important. And then the episode with Marucci, where it's like Ultraman saves everyone. He will say well, not everyone. He will save us even when we don't deserve it.
But not be able to necessarily always save the people who need it the most.
Yeah, I think we need to make. I think Ultraman needs a Shadow the Hedgehog. I think Ultraman needs a rival who is Heaven's Feel Brained, who is willing to save the little guy over the big guy.
That would be great.
That would be great. It would be very stupid, and it would be cool. I just think this, like, because like I was like, is this a joke? Is this a joke line? Because it's not what the rest of Ultraman has a misunderstanding of how evil Ultraman is, but it does not have this understanding of Ultraman. It does not have an understanding of he defends the weak. It has an understanding of he defends humanity. This is strange.
Yeah, maybe there's also just a conflation there of like humanity as like a newcomer into galactic civilization, therefore needs like to be nurtured in a way, which is paternalistic for sure, and also ignores the ways that like in Ultra 7 humanity's just like doing a lot of shit.
Humanity's just out here. Humanity's just out here.
Like we don't get to see a lot of it, but they do always say like, oh yeah, we blew up a planet with our special weapon.
Yeah.
We did genocide.
Just casually.
We did genocide an entire race. It feels like humanity is a big player on the stage in Ultra 7. In a way that's kind of like
humanity is literally doing the "I'm just a little guy" thing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it is. Damn.
This is why we need true. Like Ultra 7. We need Ultraman Mass Effect.
Oh god.
Oh man. Jesus Christ. I could
see the version of that where it's just like all the alien races are fab, like the Ultraman and the humans are just being annoying again.
Yeah.
Also, can I say actually, Red, do you have a point? I have one more thematic like big thing that really bothered me this episode.
Oh, I mean, I was gonna lead into the fact that like making an episode about how the alien is secretly the bad guy is not like clever. It's
no.
It kind of undermines like the more clever aspect at the beginning of this episode, where it's like the kids are doing something horrific.
The kids are so violent towards the alien because they think all alien, like Ultraman has given the impression that all aliens deserve to die, and the end of this episode is like, this alien does deserve to die. The alien that I told you didn't deserve to die, it does deserve to die. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to give you kindness.
And it's like, is it any wonder that like the kids like are disillusioned with like, we were taught that the aliens are like bad, and then we're taught like maybe there's some good ones. We actually made friends with this one, and they're building bridges, and then they're betrayed by the same state forces.
Now it's funny. I was gonna save this for last, but this is a perfect segue.
Mm-hmm.
I workshopped a solution to this episode that I think actually makes it way better.
Go for it.
So instead of the thing with the UFOs and the one crashes, then out comes Simon, then all the kids are beating the shit out of him. Erase all that. Instead, another child sees our good friend Dan doing something truly unexplainable, and he gets accused of being an alien. And then the rest of the episode plays out as usual, revealing that Yapul was Dan this whole time. You know when Dan shows up? After Yapul.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
It is going to turn into some Aria of Sorrow bullshit.
Dan was Yapul. Dan vanished in time.
I guess maybe like it could be like a Persona 3 where it's like Dan is actually like Ryuji, and like as Ace defeats the Choju, he eventually reforms into a pool, and you have to fight at the top of the tower on the night of the full moon.
Dan, I have not played that game. Dan shows up after the Yapul, and then vanishes before the Yapul come back.
Yes,
Oh,
And then we could have the scene of the children in horror being like, Hokuto, why did you shoot this child?
I love it when they have to kill a child.
Yes.
Boss, he murdered the child.
should. Boss, this is why you're.
That's
the
why
best
you're the
boss.
best boss. Now, bringing this very stupid, silly joke that I thought of as soon as I finished the episode, because I was like, oh damn, I was expecting Dad to show up in the last one. He does not. Dad is fucking gone. They just gave up on that whole thing.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Taro to show up and declare himself to be the 6th Ultra Brother.
Yeah.
But more seriously, bringing it back to the kids, I just think this show is obviously attempting to be more of a children's hero story. And I genuinely think that the last bit where the kids are like, oh, why'd you shoot Simon? And like, oh, you're breaking the hearts of the kids. I genuinely think they're underestimating the ability of children to understand a complex moral situation of like, hey, this person was not who they appeared to be. And the only way I can prove this is by revealing myself to be the telepathic superhero that you all know and love and trust. It just feels like it treats them like they're idiots. And it's just kind of baffling. I'm like, trust your audience more. Trust the kids more. I don't know. I thought it was silly. The whole thing feels forced.
Yeah, it's just like this thing to try to concoct this like dramatic, like when they're like when Minami is like, oh, just remember, if anyone sees you transform into Ace, that's it, you're done, you're dead, bro. And it's like, no, that's not real. Like my brain just checks out and goes, nah, not real. When Ultra 7's boss shows up and is like, you've been fighting a monster every week for a year. You're dying. I'm like, hell yeah, that's real. This is not real. When Hideki Go returns to the M78 Nebula because he's not Hideki Go anymore, that's real. Because we were seeing that happen.
God, fuck, I didn't... They're just doing that again, but shittier.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
It's funny how much, like... really is all Return of Ultraman again. It is funny though, just like Go, like in that case, Go and like Ultraman 2 like become one person.
In a way that,
and in this one, Hokuto
in
just
a way
dies.
Hokuto just dies. Now this is I was planning on bringing up the fact that Go and Ultraman become one, because they become one in a way that Minami and Hokuto never did.
Yeah.
Nope.
That wasn't happening. Okay, before we get into talking about Ultraman Ace, who made this episode?
Oh, fuck, I just put the book away.
Get the book back.
I can do mine first.
I got the book back.
I can do mine first.
No, I have it. Director Masanori Kake, and then written by Shinichi Ichikawa. Of course.
There we go. Mel, don't try to cover him for him again. When he makes a mistake, he has to live with it. Okay. Now, you're...
I'm gonna toss this book across my room now.
Okay. Did you kill a daddy longlegs?
I don't think so. Okay. I did accidentally throw it out of the room. I'm gonna need to go find that later. I threw that further than I thought.
Mel, your guys.
So director was Koichi Takano. Alien Simon was designed by Akihiko Oguchi. Just a side note, apparently the real Alien Simon has never showed up in anything. We only have Yapul Simon. Jumbo King was designed by Yoshi Suzuki. It is noted that its components are Kaura for the main head, body, and one of its tails. Mazurius, which is like the baby from the post-Yapul episode, has the back and some spines. Mazarion, which is also the demon they fight in that post-Yapul episode, has the buzzsaw fins. Unitang, which is the biker girl's six nipples. One. Yep. Has its hands, wings, and its rear end. And then the Yapul itself, the giant Yapul itself, has extra spikes on its back. I will also say I do kind of like the idea of like, just like regarding Jumbo King itself, I do like the idea of like the Choju originally were like weird creatures combined by Yapul, and like the idea of the final one being like a combination of other Yapul of Yapul combining with other Choju is a cool way to have a final boss, I think.
Yeah, I think Jumbo King is fine. I think the fight is okay. Yeah, my problem is the other portions of the episode.
Yeah, I just want to highlight just because that was like one part I was like, oh, that's cool. That's a good way to have a final boss for this particular show.
Yeah.
Outside of like Ultra 7, I don't know if there's been a like final boss monster I've been really like, oh yeah, that guy's cool.
Well, the problem is you don't like Zedon. They used it twice.
No. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get more eventually.
So I think, and we might talk about this later this episode, funnily enough, but I think one of my beefs is like, I think I tap out when the premise of the enemy for these shows is, oh, this is the guy that's going to kill the hero and doesn't have like something else going on. I think that's just inherently something that my brain just like checks out on.
That's fair.
Versus like, oh, we have a funny traffic signal monster. You know, like when there's something else going on, I'm like, okay, I'm here for it. But when your gimmick is the villain, capital V, I'm just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, what else is happening in this episode? I think Simon itself is not like they've gone like, oh, we gotta make a cute innocent alien, and they couldn't use the red guy who gets smushed.
Pigmon.
They couldn't use Pigmon, obviously, because Pigmon can't turn out to be evil. And so they've got Simon.
I like
motherfucker called Simon.
I like Simon's design a lot.
I'm not so high, but it's what's going on here? What have I got? Oh, leave the call, come back.
She can't hear that. Probably.
Okay. Hello.
You back?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know what? Mel, you typed I can't hear anyone, and I said into the microphone, leave the call, come back. like that would help.
I missed what Brad said. It basically was just like about the final boss being an Ultraman killer and nothing else, right?
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have, I guess, much else to say. I just think that this is a I guess on the level of like I can see the spite in here, but I think just like as a final episode of an Ultraman show, I think being like, oh yeah, we have to be nice. We can't just kill every alien.
Yeah.
But also this alien is trying to trick us into being nice to it, and we should actually kill it. Is like, well, okay, this is bizarre. I wouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Return of Ultraman episode that did that is a lot funnier because it's Hideki Go trying to strangle a child.
That is quite simply one of the best episodes in an Ultra series.
It's very good.
I have yet to recover from the psychological effect of seeing this kid say, "What are you gonna do about it, Hideki Go?" And Hideki Go going, "Well, I'm gonna strangle you in a hospital bed." And then Ibuki being like, "Why would you do it?" It's like, well, because I want to kill him. It's fantastic. Yeah, I don't have much else to say.
Yeah, I think like so like the final lines of Hokuto, like this is the final battle, and like a goodbye list of things. I like those lines. Maybe they don't fit the episode, and it would be better in a different context. But I think as lines, they're pretty cool.
I think as a farewell to a cast, this is a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah,
they don't get much to do.
Yeah,
they stay very quiet.
The attack just like stares, dumbfounded, and like Ryu goes, Hokuto. That's it. That's it.
It's kind of a bit of a letdown.
Me when I'm walking around at night and look up at the sky.
Hokuto.
That's the North Star.
That's the North Star.
Minami is also there.
Minami is also there. It's funny that Minami went to the stars before Hokuto, who is the North Star. Anyway,
Minami just
might be
floating.
done talking about
Minami JPEG floating on screen. Hokuto, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Weird to you to say that right now. What's up with that?
Damn. It's crazy timing. We might be done talking about this episode, in which case we can talk about the show. Ultraman Ace. I think bad. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I feel bad because I feel like I, at some point, jinxed us when I was like, well, I don't think we're gonna get anything on the level of like, I don't think anything in Ultraman's on the level of Ultraman. Let me start that over again.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't think I was jinxed myself. I think I jinxed us when I was like, I don't think anything in Ultraman is on the level of Gundam Seed bad. And then we get this season.
Oh, I don't think this show is Gundam Seed bad.
I don't think it is
either. But I do think I jinxed it by making it a bad one.
Well, you need to remember that our official podcast policy on jinxes are that they're not real.
Yeah, jinxes aren't real.
Of course.
Jinxes aren't real, especially when they really clearly are. They're not real.
Yeah.
So this was not a good show. I've been like thinking about this as we've become like increasingly dismissive. Just like every week, just like, man, we got fucking nothing to say about this shit. It's a shame. I didn't come in primed to dislike it or anything. Like, I didn't know about this show's reputation. All I knew was it was divisive. That was it.
I knew about what happened, and I was like, I guess part of why, like, earlier on, because I knew what happened, I tried to, like, bring in some of the more positive opinions from some of my friends, just to be like, I want to be as charitable to the show as possible and give it the most fair and best shake it can. And then I stopped liking it. I think even early on, you can tell in earlier episodes, I feel like I'm giving it the most rope. And in hindsight, I was like, oh yeah, there's like stuff in this episode and I like it, and so they're doing things. And then like in hindsight, I'm like, well, this is, even as best, I was never actually that high on it. I feel like maybe I was overcompensating a bit in hindsight.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing is like, in the first half of this show, I think I've been like thinking about this maybe like a little bit self-consciously, but I think it's pretty clear that we were not dismissive in those early stages, because you can hear what dismissive sounds like, and it's the last few episodes. In the early stages, we're like engaged, and there's just a lot of, there's a lot of trying to find things to talk about, trying to find things to enjoy, and mostly coming away with like,
it's all right.
But I feel like, to be fair to us, part of that is probably also to do with the fact we just came off of Return of Ultraman, which is a show that needs to find itself again a couple different times in a row.
Oh, and so we're like giving it space.
Yeah.
So we're giving it space to figure some shit out, and then we, after a while, realize maybe it's not going to figure itself out. And in fact,
the opposite happens when it kneecap itself in a very explicit ways.
I feel like I don't understand Hokuto as a human being. They have no clear vision of him as a protagonist at all.
Like every time they have to give him emotion, they add like a person that he knew from back in the day. I was like, they add like I could have been like in a biker gang. Shut the fuck up.
And that's so disappointing coming after Go, who is the most this is a man of all time, like, dude, we understand,
Yeah.
Watching him, he changed. He has a character arc. He's like,
Before just giving a cue.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. It's been disappointing. I think I have so I don't know that this is like a prevalent idea in the fan base.
Yeah, I saw you tweet about it, so I have a guess.
Yeah.
So I've also been thinking about it.
in like the first episode of this podcast, the idea that Ultraman Ace is like a non-binary character, like could be read as like a non-binary character. I have been thinking about it, and like this could still be true in the future because like there is a lot of Ultraman beyond this, and Ultraman Ace presumably still a character, still hanging around. But I watching this show, I simply think it's just not the case. Ultraman Ace is like not, despite the intentions of the writer, I don't think Ultraman Ace ever is like an expression of like surpassing the differences between genders.
Yeah.
I think very clearly Ultraman Ace is the power of holy matrimony. In that first half of the show.
Okay, so I might have some extra things. Because I've also been thinking about this.
Okay. My general position is just like Hokuto and Minami are a couple. There's never any like blending of identity. The only time that they ever really talk about what it's like to be Ultraman Ace, they talk about Hokuto being in control and Minami just kind of being in there and powering it. Which is like, first of all, they're talking about it in terms of them being separate within Ace, and it's just like bizarre. And like Ace is already a character before Ace and before Hokuto and Minami become like the hosts, and you know they have wedding rings. Basically, they're married, and I just don't see this at all. And I'm not trying to like wield my identity at anyone here. I think this is a read anyone could arrive at just like watching the show and being and like trying to wrestle with what ideas are on the screen.
Yeah, there's no way for me to wade into this conversation than being like, well, here's what the cisgender guy thinks. But
this is, at some point I was going to tweet and thought better of it. It's like, imagine if Brad was the one that was mad about the non-binary Ultraman Ace.
Now, to be fair, a bunch of cisgender guys waiting on the gender of Ultraman Ace is the show.
Yeah, that's true. But like,
my expensive things.
I was thinking too, like just the other day, I'm kind of shocked, and maybe this is a good thing because this probably would have been bad if they tried to do it, but we don't even get what I feel like would be the obvious thing for this era of TV writing to do, which is, oh, well, there is a problem, and then there's tension because the masculine viewpoint and the feminine viewpoint have a different like take. I think we maybe get like
a couple episodes like that, like where like maybe like I don't know. I think this impression that like the two of them see things differently, Hokuto and Minami, but that doesn't necessarily lead to like a conflict or tension between them. I guess in the end.
Yeah, it always feels very understated in like a way that I'm just surprised they just. It feels like nobody was really invested in making this part of the premise actually ever come up as a problem or something that makes the storyline more complex.
There is suggestion early on that this could be the direction the show could go because, like we say, noted best episode of Ultraman Ace, the incel episode, is about like a very like gendered situation.
Yes.
And like it's clear that there is like going to be an attempt to lean into this, and you know that version of the show might be like clumsy and fraught in its own way, but it would be I would much prefer to have that show.
Yeah, I agree.
Because as is, we don't get the only time that the fusion is interesting, like does anything fun, is the Ace Killer episode where they
touch a screen.
Like Hokuto volunteers for the thing, and Minami's like they have that like silent conversation between them. That's like the one time where it's like, holy, they're doing something, and then they fuse through the screen from across space. And I was like, hell yeah, this should have been the finale of the show. Like, what are they gonna do now?
What's funny is I don't even like those episodes. I genuinely think that's the best moment of this show.
Yeah.
That screen touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been thinking about this stuff, and also I found some like more write-up stuff I could do. I will say, I think as far as like the Ace's gender stuff goes, mostly it's mostly admittedly a thing I've heard from my friends, and I'm not plugged as much into the wider fandom to know if it's prevalent. Even though I did a quick Google search to see like, okay, some people on Reddit may think it a little bit. So it's like I assume some people might willing to take that as an interpretation, but I also don't know. It feels like it's maybe more like a headcanon kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be like a corner of the fan base.
Yeah, and
it's just that we're plugged into that corner because you know them.
Yeah,
but that's fine.
And it's also not like I've heard that like there's some like more spoiling things a little bit. I've heard there's some more definitive cases of like, I won't say like non-binary, but like non-gendered characters in the franchise.
I mean, I am absolutely fine with like future like Ultramans like dealing with like gender in ways that don't fit like how the human society defines.
Yeah,
it,
we can talk about.
I'm absolutely fine with them having like alien ideas.
It's just this show is the show that's like this.
This show is like this. It's also I don't think the fact that it's not that prevalent doesn't mean it's bad to bring up, because it's a way that I have used to arrive at what the fusion is actually about.
Yeah.
And it's trad. They're married. Vegito is queerer.
Yeah. Anyway, I do.
It loses a lot of charitability for me, in specifically the way that the Minami half of the equation gets repeatedly shafted.
Yeah, and like there's probably like an idea of what Ichikawa had, but how it played out and whether he himself maybe like his expression of it really matched what I guess the intention was, or his own limitations.
Here's the other thing. Ichikawa has got off scot-free because, like, if he got to make his show, we might be mad at it.
Yeah.
We might have a lot to complain about. But because he didn't get to make it, we don't get to interrogate his ideas at all.
The Versus 13 of Ultraman.
No.
Shut the fuck up.
No, I have some fun stuff. I end up looking on like the Ultraman wiki, and it turns out like the production stuff they have is actually pretty decent. Like they're sourcing books and magazines and stuff.
That's good.
So maybe I can rely on that as a source, especially now that like I won't necessarily have that production info on. I won't tell you have like the Ultrablog DX for Taro and Leo.
Okay.
But I found some more stuff that's like kind of like regulating some stuff we knew, as well as some additional details filling the blanks.
Okay.
We see that like of course I talked about Ishikawa, Iwahara, and Taguchi were like gave 3 pitches. And like they kind of fused them into one. But like Ichikawa kind of became the head writer because like the whole gender stuff was kind of his idea, his baby.
Mm-hmm.
However, the 3 writers were basically rotating episodes, and that basically kind of led to a lack of a coherent vision and characterization, which basically is a big part of the reason why Minabe and Yapul were like kind of left to the wayside, and all that was like instrumental in Ishikawa leaving, because basically he was like, Ishikawa is ostensibly head writer, but the other 2 guys are doing like not that, and it's kind of like making the show a bit of a mess. The wiki apparently labels Ken Kumagai specifically as the Tsuburaya production producer who got Minami out of the show, so fuck you.
Wow.
Out.
I'm so happy we have a specific person.
Wait, could you repeat that?
Ken Kumagai is the Tsuburaya producer who got Minami out of the show.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Don't know how much there's like other people involved, but at the very least he was involved in a personal way. It seems like Ishikawa's original theme, I think we talked about this, like how like the trust and kindness of humanity to fight against the darkness of Yapul, which was where like the kindness is important to Ishikawa and why he talks about it in this episode. Success, right? We talked about it already, but like that was his goal. And the wiki accordingly says like the show post retool seems more focused on justice than kindness. It seems like No.
The main differences we picked up on was suddenly the Hokuto was the cop of masculinity.
Yeah. The post retool kept on like shaking things up, and then you get the focus becoming less on the character stuff and a lot more on action scenes. It does seem like this is just like a separate thing, but like Dan, there isn't really a reason given why he left the show, but it does seem like he's just a victim of them trying to find something and it's not working.
They should like,
and you know, also there is the fact
it's
that like
so funny. It's so funny that they add a child in out of nowhere and then just like quietly is just like no, not in the show.
I've also seen it said that like they may have just quietly left him out of the show at the moment they greenlit Taro and knew there was going to be an actual 6 Ultra.
Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Apparently, you know, just while I'm on the Dan tangent, he basically retired from acting early in the 70s and disappeared from public life. But then at some point, in 3 years ago, 2021, Keiji Takamine managed to track him down. They had a nice Ace reunion. So.
Oh. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen this photo, I think.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. And we also found like one of the sources was a Japanese interview between like TBS producer Yoji Hashimoto and an Ishikawa fan site.
Okay.
Where apparently Hashimoto, I don't know if Brad talked about this, but Yoji Hashimoto was specifically the guy who brought back Ishikawa for his last 2 episodes.
Yes, I think I brought that up because he was like, "It's your obligation."
Well, I ended up reading the interview, and it seems like it may not be the same. I kind of take it a different way after reading it. He said like, "It's your show, so you should finish it." I think it comes across when I read with the intention. It seems more like less responsibility and more like it's your show, so I want you to have the final say in it.
Okay.
And he was like repeatedly like, "Listen, you don't have to worry about the sponsors. It's your show. End it how you want to. You can write whatever you want. I don't care. Just like I want you at the end of it."
Yeah, like for context, the article I was reading on this says ordered by the producer of the work to write the final episode as the responsibility of the main writer.
Yeah, so maybe there's like a bit
different.
Maybe there's a bit of that in there, but like you know, I do think his intention was I want at the very least.
Yeah.
I want I think at least to him like maybe there's a responsibility angle, but he also felt like if someone is going to close out the show, it should be Ishikawa. Like it would feel wrong otherwise, in his view.
Yeah.
Wouldn't feel wrong because it's not his show.
Well, you know, it's his in his mind. We don't agree with the creative choices of the people on the show.
Popping up out of silence just to let everyone know. Show bad. Show not good.
It is noted in the interview, just like I think there's some allusions, at least by the fan site, that Ishikawa may be Christian, and that leads to some of his themes, like a betrayal and like the idea of men and women becoming a super being. I don't know where I read this. This is from a different thing. I just think I lost the source for it. But I think it's
that happened in Christianity a lot.
Well, I think they read something that's more like in the case of like I don't remember. It was like, I mean, there's some mythologies where it's like men and women are incomplete, but originally before they were separated, there was like a complete being. I don't know where I read that one, but I don't know if that's an influence. And I guess there's also in the Garden of Eden you have like there was once like one thing, and then like Eve came out of Adam. Then there were two things. It's like set meshing. Anyway, on the subject of letting Ichikawa off scot-free, I also found on Reddit someone found in like a book Ichikawa's intended ending.
Okay.
If the show is
ready.
I'm so curious what the fuck this could be.
Go for it.
I'll link this in the description. The source is in a book. It's called. So it's like the only source I could find this is like in a Reddit post. So maybe someone can find a better source. But like,
is this a book by Ichikawa?
It's Encyclopedia of Ultra Series Subcharacters.
Okay.
So
Presumably this was written after the fact.
In the year 2002.
Is this like? Okay, so I just want to be clear. Is this like solid reports of notes that Ichikawa had at the time, or is this like Ichikawa saying?
It's Ichikawa saying
this is how I would have done it.
It's Ichikawa saying it.
Okay, whatever he says, I would like to make clear that I have a degree of press X to doubt about any of this.
Yeah, because it is 2002, and now it isn't dated. The book is dated. We don't know if he gave an earlier statement that's got compiled in the book.
I can say whatever the fuck I like after 20 years of sitting on it.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm that's why I said it's a Reddit post. Just you can give a skepticism, and if someone else can give me another source that backs up, that helps.
Okay.
But just
let's go. I want to hear.
Ichikawa says, "I had no intention of letting Ace survive. Hokuto and Minami become an ordinary man and woman, never to be Ace again. They come to love each other as human men and women and renounce transformation. By truly loving each other, they no longer need the power of God, brackets, the power of Ace, and they either retire from TAC, get married, and start living on a ranch in the countryside, or return to the town of Hiroshima, where they later have a child. I think that is how the epilogue ended. So what happens to Yapul? Yapul's thought of as a trauma created by humans, a kind of illusion that disappears when it's defeated. If Ace defeats Yapul, and Hokuto and Minami realize their love in that fight, I wanted to leave the message that only love can defeat the demon of desire created by man."
I can see it. I would like to rescind my press X to doubt. Of course, this would be how the show ends.
When you were talking about how it's not transgender, it's trad matrimony.
I
was thinking of this.
Yes, absolutely. It's just the power of them getting married every week.
So that's my, because when you talked, I was going to get into this when
himself.
I was gonna bring this up when you reference we're giving him too much credit, and we don't know what the show would have been like if he was given the full control that he probably intended. And that is kind of how I feel with the last few appearances of him here, where I do appreciate the spite and the feeling of the flavor it's giving these episodes. However, I also it's this weird stumbling block of, I feel like this dude's been wronged and I feel bad for him and I'm on his side, and I fully can get behind him criticizing what the show became, but also too, I do think that we wouldn't have been much better off with what the real vision was, quote unquote.
I think the show would have been better if it had the consistent vision, and we could argue about whether we still would have liked it, but I think, the show with a consistent vision that's at least doing something interesting, even if we don't like it, is better than whatever we got.
I can agree with that.
I would love to watch the Ultraman that is explicitly a romance. I would love to watch that one. It doesn't exist, unfortunately, but apparently it was going to. Whether it was, it might not have been good, but I would love to watch it. It's it just seems so. The vision is so clear now that I've got this, forgetting my press X to doubt entirely. Now that I have this information, I'm just like, of course, it makes perfect sense.
I want the version of Ultraman where it's Urusei Yatsura, but Ataru and Lum become Ultraman.
I bet there's an episode about that.
Probably.
There could be. If there isn't, there should have been. Man. Well, do we have anything more to say about Ultraman Ace, the show?
I don't normally do this, but I actually did tweet when I literally frame one of me hitting the credits montage. I tweeted, Ultraman Ace is a truly terrible show made by cowards, and I'm so happy I never have to watch another episode of this garbage in my life. I think at its worst, it significantly lowered my excitement. I misspelled excitement. I just realized now, god damn it. Excitement for tokusatsu as a space for storytelling. Holy shit.
I think your opinion is validated by minor typo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this show is so dire in... I can see the loss of possibility of what these shows can be and what they're willing to explore as this goes on, and it feels like it's getting hammered into this small box of what they're allowed to make episodes about and what Ultraman can be as a hero. Yeah. And it's so fucking depressing.
Yeah, it's in a weird spot where it's you have competition from other shows that are probably like doing more exciting, interesting things, and like Super Eye both needs to like adapt to the times, but also like needs to like stay to their things that make them unique, even if that's the outdated stuff. There's like the market is shifting, and you're getting less of a general audience as they're going to more to other shows, including like older teens, young adults going into like anime instead of toku and leaving the kids behind. And you also have just like more a lot more of like the toyification and needing to like sell merchandise, and there's like stuff like needing to like maybe like there would have been like more of a coherent vision if they were still doing the batch route like they did with Ultraman and Ultra 7 rather than like the Return of Ultraman and Ultraman Ace, where they're like really doing like a rolling production schedule and like changing a lot more on the fly. It's just
yeah, they're getting there are so many more episodes this series than any that we've ever seen before of people who are coming on to do a job. Like, that's all they're doing. They work for the channel. Like, oh, this week I'm on Ultraman, and then like maybe a few weeks later I'll be on Ultraman again, and they don't care.
Yeah.
Like it feels
a lot of the old guard
show
like have left or died.
Yeah. And they don't have the vested interest of like, oh, this is what we want this character in this show to be. It's just, oh, we have a job to do.
Yeah, like there's like always things you can do. It's just like there's making a show, and there's making a show in the conditions you're allowed to make a show in, which is like, I have to get a sponsor with a TV station, I need merchandise sponsor, I need to like, respond to viewer demands when I'm doing a 50 episode show. And maybe that's also I think that's like that's also the thing in anime, which is why I think when the OVA boom happened in the 80s and 90s, you got a lot more weird stuff, some good, some bad, just because you can do that where you're not constrained to like what you have to do for TV to sell a TV show with OVA format. And so I think they're definitely seeing a lot of that here. And Ace is like a case one, like perhaps the example we have so far of like this is what we're trying to make a toku show for 50 episodes for like a specific audience, usually children, can be a problem and will be repeated many times throughout the medium, like Comrade Hippie, for instance. Yeah, I know this probably won't be the case, and it definitely will not be the case given how long the series is, but I know at some point we will probably get a talented team again that have a very clear ideology and direction that they want to take things in. And I'll probably love that. Well, I guess it depends on what that ideology and direction is, right? But I am terrified. I am low-key kind of terrified that we are going to get a batch of Ultraman here where it is just a sea of mid, and then occasionally there's one or two guys who show up to be like, hey, I want to be a little bit more considered about what we're doing. Let's talk about this a little bit more. And I hope that is not the case. Yeah, I
for my sanity.
I hope not either, because I want everyone to enjoy what they're doing and watching the show.
You don't want to feel like you're dragging us along.
Yeah,
it sucks, and this feels hyperbolic, and I hate to say it, but I genuinely do think that this series may have lowered my like esteem of tokusatsu, and I hate to say that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but like it.
I mean, it
made me much more cynical about it than I was previously.
The reason it has not done that for me is simply on the level of I think it would be difficult to replicate the way that Ultraman Ace is bad, just on the level of like its specific situation with like it has an idea. It doesn't really live up to this idea. It ditches this idea halfway through and keeps trying constant new things and then ditching them.
And bringing new guys on a rotating basis.
As it stumbles towards an ending, and then gets back the original guy who rocks up and is just like, man, fuck all you motherfuckers.
See, and I think what worries me about that is I think this shouldn't be it, but I think I'm terrified that the takeaway lesson from that is don't have ideas. And I really hope that's not the case.
I mean, it might be don't have ideas in a way that it might be. I don't know.
We'll see. I am going into Taro with an open heart. I hope I like it. I'm ready for a change. I'm so excited to be out of Ace.
Bet Ultraman Taro is basically more Ultraman.
So
I do bet that.
I will say this. I know Taro is, 1, it's a popular one. 2,
Okay.
it doesn't seem to have, from my knowledge, the apparent production issues of this show. It seems like they just had that one figured out.
Crazy.
And so I think on that basis,
First time this has happened.
yeah, on that basis, it may be a case where we enjoy it more. Whether we enjoy its particular like vision is a different thing, but it might. I feel like at the very least it'll be like it'll be a smoother ride. It won't be like this one where like, you know. Well, I don't know. It could just be like, you know, it's not our thing, in which case it might be like not the best. But you know,
yeah, but it doesn't. It sounds like it might not be one that we're like getting mad at.
Yeah. That's my thing. Like, even if it's not for us, I can still like acknowledge like, hey, we're sitting down, we're watching this thing, and it's not like what I would necessarily want, but it's still like good. You know, like, you know, there's that space.
Yeah, I mostly just
and I'd be happier with that than a shit show like this.
If we just tune in and have a good time every week, that'd be fine. Like, I'm not expecting the world.
So, if we're kind of done talking about Ultraman Ace, do we want to get into the fun stuff?
Let me do my timers first.
Oh yes, shoot.
Because like with Ultraman, I forgot it until the first episode of Ultra 7. Return of Ultraman, I forgot it until like halfway through sorting. So I'm gonna put it in here now. Timer is episode 50, 2 minutes 27 seconds. Episode 51, 4 minutes 9 seconds. And episode 52, 3 minutes 44 seconds. And I will also say, I'm going to do an end of season counter roundup. So where we're at. Genocide's at 8, as we talked about before. Medical Miracles at 15.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's even more than Return.
I think about doubled this season.
Wow.
And then
here's the thing. Ultraman Ace was not like weird about it. It is automatically a little bit weird, but Ultraman Ace was not like
Return of Ultraman was way weirder about it.
Return of Ultraman was really weird about it.
And this one is a bit of a clarification.
Okay.
Giant Woman is at 7 actually. I found out what the one I was missing before, but we also added another one that we thought it was. So I'm like, okay, there's 2 more that we thought. So just to clarify, so you have the record straight.
Okay.
We have
Giant Woman at 7.
The giant
7. Sorry.
Giant Woman from
7.
better show.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
Wait, Mel, what did you say the number of medical?
15.
Number 15. Okay, I just wanted to do that.
So yeah, the list of medical list of giant women asterisks. A man could be a giant woman. The woman from Shin Ultraman. Jin Ibe. Giant Koji from also Ultra Q. Yuriko. Giant Emmy from Blazer, which is the one you were missing before. Alien Draculus from Return of Ultraman. And Asparsus from this show. And we purposely excluded Giant Santa.
Yes, we did.
Because he's just
because he is explicitly like the patriarchal head of the family.
And also he's Father Ultra.
I just think that these shows need less genocide and weird episodes about disability and more giant women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks. We like giant women.
Yes, we had. There is a yeah.
There's a clip.
They're growing on me. Ba-doom.
Hey. Okay. Do we want to talk about Choju?
Yes.
Did you like my solution to this order?
Which was to cross out Terrible Monster and just list and then put Choju.
Yes.
Yes, I did like that solution. Let me find my list. Where is it?
What number do you want
here
to do
it is.
this time?
That's a good question. Do we want to do a top 10?
I feel like we've been doing bottom 3, top 10. I'm more than happy
Yeah,
to carry
I think
that.
we did
Yeah.
for 7. We did bottom 3, top 15, and then for Return of Ultraman we did bottom 3, top 10.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I want to do a top 15 for this. I'm going to be honest, doing this order, I had to look up who these people were a lot.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my sorter is like it's not a lot of heavy hitters, so like whoever stood out to me got a lot further than I would have expected.
Oh,
I
same.
like my top 5.
Okay,
I like mine too, actually.
let's start.
So bottom 3.
three.
Who's starting?
Should we go in Discord left to right order?
What's the fuck is Discord left? Let me look here.
Me, Mel, you.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Number 73, androids.
Number 73 for me is Possessed Yoshiko.
Now,
Who's like the
I have
mom.
75.
Well, 73, then 74, then 75.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I was a bit confused.
Okay,
with it,
yes.
but yeah.
73. Possessed Yoshiko.
Hey.
74, Ace Robot.
74, Fubugira, who I forgot what that was.
74. Androids.
75, worst Choju IMO, Ace Killer.
The
Fucking hate
fuck?
that.
Not me.
Fucking hate Ace Killer so much. I think it's
fuck?
so lame.
You don't get it.
I don't.
Walking Phoenix GIF, you don't get.
Yeah, you wouldn't get it.
Number 1 for me. Number 75 for me is
for it.
Orion.
Right.
Because it's just like, you know,
Which one is that?
it's
Oh, yeah,
'cause
it's that guy.
It's just like the demon guy face, but like with inverted colors. It's like nothing.
Oh, yeah.
75. Ungramon. I think this sucks. I can't remember what episode it's from. I don't like it.
I don't remember Ungramon either.
Is an underground creature that uses the Choju.
Oh, yeah, this freak.
Gitanga. Look at
Oh,
this.
yeah, that's
this looks so
from
stupid.
the first episode, first Stan episode.
Ungramon was
yeah.
my 71.
Yeah, mine was. That was my 66. I think.
Hey, do you want to know what was between my 70? My 73 was androids, my 71 was Ungramon. You want to know what my 72 was?
Is it Simon? No.
Ultraman Ace.
Ultraman Ace? My 72 is Simon.
That's very funny.
My
I did
72
not
is the
like
Angel.
Simon. Okay. Okay, top 10.
Brett.
My number 10 is Zemistar, which off the top of my head I don't remember what that looks like.
Zemistar's alright, yeah. It's just kind of Choju, but it's like good. It's pretty
I
good.
like what that was.
Yeah, that guy. He breathes fire.
Oh yeah,
He has the little like proboscis
he's
or
the
whatever.
guy from the boat episode.
Yes. Yeah, I like that guy.
My number 10 is Space Mask, the guy who's like the doing flips and has tails
Yeah.
on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Space Mask.
Space Mask was 37 for me, but I did like Space Mask. I feel like Space Mask probably would have been higher in a alternate listing.
My 10 is Vakishin.
Yeah,
I like
that seems
Vakishin.
cool. Breaking the glass.
No,
in the
I
sky.
can't remember what what he's from, but I like
He's
him.
from episode 3, the one with the kid who kills his grandparents.
Oh yeah. Oh, extra. You know what? He would have been higher up if I'd looked him up. As it stands, he's number 10.
He's the guy who like breaks the glass of the sky.
Yeah, that's the shit where I'm like, oh, you
Yes.
should be in my top
When the show was
5.
doing stuff and had vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. Brad, you're number 9.
My number 9 was Hipporit.
My number 9 was Sabotender, the cactus.
My number 9.
is good.
My number 9 was King Crab. Just because I love what if you're associated with the crab episode, I like you. Brad, you're number 8.
My number 8 was Cowra. Love me a cow. Wisconsin coded Choju.
Oh yeah, dude, with all the dairy.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff in Ultraman that is apparently Wisconsin coded.
This is my headcanon. You need to
Yeah,
understand.
I see.
This is how I
Mel.
relate to things.
Yeah. Mel, you're 8.
My number 8 is Bad Baron. Oh, the fucking balloon.
Ooh, Bad Baron.
Yeah, Bad Baron,
Big
good.
balloon.
Bad Baron was my 14. I was like, damn, I'm surprised Bad Baron wasn't higher.
My number 8, I was one off this time. I'm bummed about it. I almost got it and I didn't. My number 8, Ultra 7.
Ah,
I have Ultra 7 at number 15.
so close.
Number 15.
But I do have Zofia at 14.
Zoffy was 12 for me. Wait, did Zoffy rank higher than any of the other? Oh my god, he did.
He showed up the most in terms of the other ones. He did the most.
Yeah,
he did.
Next is Brad, 7.
7, Lunatics. I love me a giant space rabbit.
It's a good Choju.
It shoots like missiles out of its eyes or some shit
It's
too.
a shame that
right?
Lunatics is in that episode because it's really cool.
It is very cool.
It's a really cool episode. It's really cool. Sorry, really cool Choju.
Really cool episode. You said
To be fair, we need to say the episode was good despite it being evil.
yes.
The episode is weirdly good. It's
Yes.
really annoying.
It's just a shame what it's in service to.
Brad, you're 7.
No, that was
That
you
was
said, you
Lunatics.
said
for me.
Mel, you're
7 was Jumbo King because I think it's cool. I like it as a final boss.
Nice. My number 7 is Gallon
Which one's that one again?
with the. It's the incel one with the big.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
here's the thing. Specifically, when I think of Gallon, I'm thinking of the manga panels that the guy is
Yeah, I
drawing
think the
of Gallon,
manga panels look better.
which are
yeah.
fucking cool.
Gallon was number 11 for me though.
He was pretty low, but if I had thought about the manga aspect, I probably would have ranked him higher. My number 6, King Crab, was honestly surprised did not make the top 5 for me.
Where did I
King
Love me,
Crab.
King Crab?
King Crab episode and Incel episode going to be the 2 episodes of the show I probably think of the most, along with My Dad Has a Weird Fucked Up Alien Hand episode.
Yeah. Did everyone say that?
I have 6 next.
No. 6. Yeah.
I have
go for it.
Barba, which is like the sword Choju from the Ace Killer two-parter.
Okay. Oh yeah. That one. That one's cool.
Yeah.
My number 6 is King Kappa. I like the pool on top of his head. I think it's good.
For some reason, King Kappa is 28 for me, even though I think about I really like it. I think it should be higher for me, but sort of logic happens.
It's the first time they've made a good Kappa Choju.
I do like the pool on top
That
of his
is
head.
true.
It's nice. It's cool.
King Kappa was like halfway, like 39 for me. I'm like indifferent to it.
Yeah.
But I do think it's better than the previous Kappa one we've gotten in previous
Not
shows.
hard. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Really not difficult.
My number 5. Oh wait, no, you right?
No, that was King Kappa.
No,
wait.
I've done my 6,
Yes.
which was King Kappa. Your
We're
5,
good.
top
That's
5s.
consistently.
We know him, we love him, we rip off his jaw, Marucci.
Hell yeah, Marucci.
I had Marucci a lot lower just because he's not a big part in this show.
Done dirty the show.
Yeah, like he's
I think I have Marucci at 31. So yeah.
I'm Marucci at 40. Anyway,
I have Ultraman Ace above Marucci. That seems wrong. That's okay.
I do like the design of Ace, but
It's like I like the crest on the head. I do fundamentally like Ace. It's just that knowing that Hokuto is in there, I'm like, get this off my
not
screen.
anymore.
I think I liked
anymore.
Ace's design a lot more at the start, and like over time, I'm like, I actually think I preferred the more featureless faces.
I
we got
appreciate it for
before.
doing something different, but also like there's probably a reason like there's a template that's common.
Yeah.
But I have Ace at 22 though. Anyway, my number 5,
Your number 5.
Daidara Hoshi, the time travel guy.
Daidara Hoshi.
This guy's cool.
Cool.
I like that episode.
I just need to look at Daidara Hoshi again. Yeah, Daidara Hoshi's pretty cool. My number 5, let me go back to this image, is Yapul. I like Yapul. I like all the spines.
I was gonna bring this up, but I forgot. I don't understand what Yapul is anymore. Is it a guy? Is it a species?
So Yapul was
Brad?
a species that yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Yapul was a species that then like merged into one creature to fight Ace, and then
Just
Now
stop.
they're
became like a
an
ghost.
abstraction.
yeah.
Yapul is a concept.
That's why they're your pool carticles in the episode.
Speaking of Yapul, my number 4 was Simon. I love that little
fuck
dork.
Simon. Fuck Simon.
Oh wait, Red, your 5 was Sipu?
Oh, my
Yapul.
5 was
Okay.
Yapul.
Mine 4 was Vakashim.
Yeah, it's cool. My 4 is Firemons, because it has a flaming sword and it kills Ultraman Ace.
Firebond's also lower next to King Kappa. I feel like it could have been higher, but it's hard to. I don't know. There's some guys which I kind of go, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I put Sphinx higher, though maybe it should have been lower. But
Where's Sphinx for me? Sphinx was like 17.
yeah,
We're at number 3.
Yeah.
Univerlagus, the jellyfish puppet.
Yeah.
Love me a
known
puppet.
puppet lover, Brad.
Known puppet lover.
I think I had.
Not like that guy who wants you to hop on Roblox,
know.
but I do love me a puppet.
I was going in to type it in the I was
I had Univerlagus at 16. My number 3 is Lunatics.
Hell yeah.
It's a good rabbit.
Good rabbit. My number 3 is Aquarius.
Let's go. Hey, you know what my number 2 is? Fucking
Aquarius?
Aquarius.
That's right. Aquarius is cool.
What a design.
Yeah. My number 2 is Kaura.
Let's go.
Damn. Wisconsin coded.
Wisconsin.
My number 2. Here he is. He's here. It's Zoffy.
Let's go.
What a jump.
The goat.
I was like fully thinking I'm gonna make Zoffy my number 1, but the truth hit me so hard and it revealed I was like, it's horrifying that I'm doing this. But we'll have to what's your number 1, Brad?
Metron Jr.
Cool.
Nice. Not much to say.
Love me a hot
good.
dog alien.
Yeah, Metron is cool. I don't like his design in this show as much as the original, but
He's got flares this time.
Yeah.
So mine, I did not expect, and I'm 50-50 on whether like it's a fluid thing because I feel like I could, this could be fluid with like opinions on this Choju in the show. It's a bit weird, but I do feel in my heart there's a degree to which this is true, and so I embrace it. Dark Horse right at the end. My number 1 is Gigon the violin.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Cool. My number 1 is Lunatics. It's the best Choju in this show. It's so
pretty good.
cool.
Good.
It's the rabbit from the moon.
Yeah.
It's got those big ear antenna. Oh, it's so good. The whole story around, like, it wiped out the people of the moon is cool. I love this Choju. It's a shame
That's the episode
about everything else.
Compromised Choju.
But yeah, Zoffy, my number 2. That's where he deserves to be. You know what? Zoffy would feel that it was wrong if he was number 1. He should never be the focus.
True.
Yeah.
Second place, that's silver medal. It's appropriate for him.
For all those silver studs he has, that make him
Yeah.
very distinguishable from the original Ultraman.
Yes, easily. At a glance.
At a glance.
Yeah. Okay. So that is our kaiju rankings. Do we have emails?
Yeah. Yeah. I have emails.
Shoot.
So we got 3 of them.
Okay.
First off, Cross Zeta. They got some thoughts and also some Choju stuff. So they say,
Go for it.
it's finally the end of Ultraman Ace. Honestly, I don't have much to say about the show's ending. Glad it's over for y'all. A show that is very compromised near the back half of its run. Taro's a show that I have a good amount of fun and affection for, as it was one of the shows I saw a lot as a kid. I hope y'all enjoy Ultraman Taro, Ultraman number 6.
Oh yeah, that's the 6th Ultra brother.
The 6 Ultra Brothers arriving, finally.
Yeah. Finally, I can see the star of Ultra.
Maybe it will be Dan.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
If Dan was the protagonist of Ultraman Taro.
There's like a time skip. He's grown up now.
Oh, it can't be a time skip. It has to be set directly after this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like how this show takes place after time skip after the first episode of this show.
Yeah. Yeah. This Ultraman Taro could be set 10 years after Ultraman Taro airs. It's just that all the other Ultramans, they have to make space for all the other Ultramans to take place between them.
The third strike of Ultraman.
The third strike of Ultraman.
Top 5 Choju.
Yes.
First, they make a point of saying number 15. Lunatics.
Number 15.
Yes, they're cheating. Terrifying. Alien Hippolyte. Number 4. Doragori. For their number 3, I feel like I want to backtrack to our own list to ask about our own spot for this one.
Okay.
Number 3, the Lunarian, aka Minami Yuko.
Let me find
28.
I have 17.
Let me see. 48.
Okay.
It's that's just Minami. That's just a woman. That's not it's not a high-ranking Choju.
But she healed all those people.
She healed. Yeah, she healed. She gave all those people a medical miracle. Yeah. I'm good.
Number 2, Baraba. And number 1, Vacuum.
Yeah, Vacuum's good. I'd forgotten about the sky shattering stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. The Choju in the show is kind of weird for me, where the Choju at the bottom are there out of indifference more than anything. That happens. I think there have only been a few cases where like I put something in the bottom out of revulsion. One of them being Alien Wild.
Mine this time is Simon being so low.
He says
Fuck Simon.
he closes off with, as much as that episode of Ace of the Bile, Lunatics is a good design.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next.
Thank you for your email.
Thank you, Crossfade.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up is Logan. Hi, LGQ crew. It's Logan again. My final thoughts on Ace are probably the same as all of you, which is I'm glad it's over. Although I did think the last batch of episodes, once Dan left, the show improved a bit, was still mostly okay. One thing I was surprised by was how much I found the finale lacking. Almost all the talk in the finale I've seen was how, for the finale was how much Ace's finale speech is great, so great. So this built up for me. Hold on. Let me try to send it against. Almost all the talk on the finale I've seen for the show was how much Ace's speech was great. So this built up for me. They didn't finish the sentence, but I guess they found it like a letdown.
Yeah. So we'll get to the end of this email, and then we should talk about this, because we did mention that this episode is maybe well received by the Ultraman fan base, and I want to fucking know.
Yeah, I'm morbidly curious.
I felt the speech was weirdly included, as it did not match the episode's plot or themes. On top of that, I was disappointed about the final terrible monster, since while the Chimera concept is cool, they pick a lame monster sword. That's maybe fair. I like it.
Trying to order a Jumbo King on Uber Eats as you're reading these emails. I'm starving.
My bottom 5 Choju, for Ace are in ascending order. Yapul, not the giant Yapul, but I didn't put the other pool in, so I just counted them together.
I forgot. There's technically the two, right?
Yeah, I think it's a hassle to include other forms, which maybe was bad in the case of Return of Ultraman with the baby kaiju in a cage, but whatever.
The baby kaiju in the cage would have been so high. It would have been so high.
I live that as my shame.
Baby kaiju stonks rising.
They do that in an episode, and then have the nerve this episode to be like, "How dare you children beat this alien?"
But yeah, the bottom 5 are in ascending order: Yapul, not the giant Yapul, Zemstar, Veracron, Soundgiller, and Dreamgeras. Their top 5 are Alien Steel, Ace Killer, Lunatics, Bakashim, and number 1 is Gigon.
Nice.
And I say thanks again for making a great podcast. And then they give a PS to let me know something about Taro's episode numbering, which I've already taken care of in the scheduling. But thank you.
Fantastic.
People got our backs. I appreciate it.
Okay, so yeah, I kind of forgot about this. You mentioned this episode is Ultraman fans really like this episode.
I get the impression
the last episode.
Like That
What do they know?
I mean, this isn't surprising. We've seen the people online that are 100% the Ultraman is a hero that defends the weak and is fighting for our salvation. Revisionism / not really wrestling with the
Ultraman
themes
is
of the
me
actual
killing Daddy Longlegs.
I was Ultraman earlier this episode
Exactly.
when I smushed that fucking spider.
It's just something is inconvenient to humanity, and therefore it has to be eliminated immediately.
Yeah, I have to ascend now. Be nice to each other, I guess.
yeah,
Don't specifically do not squish spiders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do a quick look. It does seem like, most people seem to think, it's just like, this is what the themes of the Ultra series are about.
No, it's fucking not. Shut the fuck.
I can believe it as like this statement is like what sets the tone for fans and writers. Like, this is what we should aim for, even if it's not actually reflective of what's there.
Yes.
Or and
I go ahead.
I also
Sorry,
think like stuff
interrupt.
like I think there's like what the show writers are trying to do versus what they're actually doing unknowingly or knowingly based on their ideology, and versus what fans read into it.
This being like the final note from the first show that kind of leans into we're making this a franchise, I think is definitely a sign of like where all this fan reflection on Ultraman comes from.
Yes.
And like, I know I talked about in the production history for the original Ultraman, like there was the intent of making a hero for like hopefulness as the intent. I'm also thinking about like this stopped tweeting someone, but I remember seeing like when Ultraman Rising came out, like someone got mad about like people joking that the original Ultraman would kill the baby kaiju.
Yeah.
The original Ultraman would kill the baby. Come on.
If you think the original Ultraman would kill the baby, you don't understand the Ultraman. And like, come on.
Come on. Watch the show. Watch the show with your eyes.
That's what I was going to say. Is I'm like self-conscious about this because I've done this before and I don't want to constantly be this guy, but I've waxed poetic about the state of modern fandom discussion and online discourse for series many a time before, so I'll keep this brief. But there is a massive contingent of fans for properties like this that do their conclusion arrives from they fully buy into what the show says in spite of itself, regardless of execution or ideology or how things actually play out when you look at it from a more critical perspective. They have a belief about what the show is and what it's doing thematically, and their answer for any pushback from that is a recursive look at, well, this is what the show says about itself. Not willing to look at it from any other sort of lens or perspective.
Yeah. I think we see that a lot, because in our circles, where we also see that in like the Gundam fandom a lot, with how they like impressions of what the political message is, even regardless of like, we have a particular view on Gundam, and maybe Tomino didn't explicitly have those views, but I think those things are kind of baked into it.
Just more broadly in general, I genuinely think that there are a lot of people that just don't understand that you can disagree with what a show is saying. Like
that's the author is.
It is. Things come from a perspective and they arrive at conclusions, but there can be cracks in that armor. There can be parts of that aren't true based on what the execution of the show and its messages are like as well, and that's in part why people like us find it so interesting to do criticism, is we can see those contradictions, or we can see how they arrive to these conclusions and how much merit they actually have based on how they're telling the stories and who they're giving time to and these sorts of things.
Yeah, and also like something I also thought about is like, I know that like a thing that comes up at times is like Super Eye writing versus like Toei writing, where Toei is a lot more in your face, and Super Eye can be a lot more like, I guess, maybe more subtle. Maybe is like in their character writing, like
Did you start that sentence and then start to feel self-conscious about subtle?
maybe a bit. There's definitely some episodes where I want to say like I don't want to say grounded, because sometimes there's like some absolutely not grounded episodes of Ultraman, but just like, you know.
You can certainly compared to Toei, you have discussed this before, is the way that Toei characters are way more cartoonish compared to Tsuburaya, which is like on character-wise is a little more low-key.
Yeah, I think low-key is a better word, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, you can maybe say it's more subtle than Toei. Yeah. It's still children's television, but you know there is range.
And it does make it feel like maybe there's a theory to which fans who like watched Ultra shows and rewatched them are able to like read into things that maybe we miss, because, you know, sometimes we miss stuff, but also there's also a thing which I'm going to use an example that is extremely mean to this franchise, but there's something Red said once about how people like Gundam Seed because they can read whatever they want into the characters because there's nothing there, and maybe sometimes there's just like an absence of thing that people are reading into it, where they like they read into the thing that
sometimes literally, sometimes Hayata is is no one.
Yes,
like people buying into like what the quote unquote mission statement Super Eye says the franchise is, and then they read into it based on like taking that at face value and like, oh, well, it's in the show. You just got, you know, it's right there. Like when they point to like, oh, Ultraman did a genocide in episode 2, and then you have the monster graveyard later in the show. I was like, oh, that's a sign of Ultraman's growth as like a becoming a better person.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know if that's I don't know if that was intended.
As opposed to like the idea these
different people make these episodes.
Because like as far as I know, no one was like talking to each other about like the plan. And I could be proven wrong about this.
Nathan Fielder voice, the plan.
But like, I can see like, you know, just Oji making a commentary about this older episodes, but not necessarily, and like just because it was placed later in the show doesn't necessarily mean it was like intentional. Oh, Ultraman grew per se. I mean, maybe there's a degree like, you know, we see an intentional character arc for Go where people were even on the more of the same page, but you know, also that's Choju. I get the impression like Choju Shozo Uehara was like more steering the ship in a way that definitely wasn't true for Ishikawa with Ultraman Ace, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I don't think there was anyone steering the ship for that original Ultraman show.
Return of Ultraman had such a like strong sense of direction that when they killed two characters, they replaced one of them with a different character that was the same character immediately.
Yeah.
To take her role, and like you could see in the finale where that dead character would have been if the actor didn't have to leave.
It is funny, like people are down on that stretch of the show because it's like the act like it just like, has nothing there sometimes for some people, but also it's like that's ironically the show where they start like investing more in like, well, what is Jiro doing? He's more present.
It is so funny how little I know about outside Ultra fandom stuff.
And every time we find out something, it's like, who are these motherfucking morons?
Like I feel like such an out. I've watched like I've watched like 8 things, and I feel like such an outsider already.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. That's how it goes, though. And I'm considering our proclivities. This is not surprising.
And I feel
people like us.
I feel pretty okay about that because, like, you know, I'm obviously grandfathered in as like a grandmother gender. Mm-hmm.
You're the old head of us.
Even then, anyway, it's not like I've seen everything, and like, you know, so maybe there's a degree to which can like appreciate or understand the other fans' perspective, and like there's a degree to which I may be more charitable, or just like have a fondness for the shows where I give them more rope than you two do. But on the other hand, I think our show is better based on two of you never having seen it and being complete outsiders and having different perspectives. Which, you know, I don't know how much I'd necessarily have the same perspectives if I was like watching on my own versus like talking with you two. But I also feel like our perspectives are stronger based on that.
And I do feel like also, at least from my perspective, I don't know how you feel about this, Red, but like I also feel like it's always interesting having people coming from the like
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't call myself a tokusatsu guy in a way that I feel like a lot of the people online that are making stuff about Ultraman and
Like
talking
me.
about Ultraman are tokusatsu people. Yeah. And like I've seen Toku before this, and like we've talked about that. Like I like that stuff, but like it's not. If I want to in a vacuum, like I just had a 4-day. I'm coming off the back end of a 4-day weekend, and like I'm like okay, I have a bunch of time and I can go and like just watch something and cool down and like chill out or read whatever I
Brag
want.
about it. Jesus Christ.
And it was so nice and relaxing. No, but I read some stuff, I watched some stuff, and none of it was Toku. Like that's just not what I go to by default. And I do now, like obviously there's a way to read that of like, oh well, who are you to talk about this if it's not something you care about? But I do think there's value in having that outside perspective of I'm coming into this thing without the investment necessarily.
Yeah.
And it's not like I dislike it or anything. It's
not
just it's not a priority.
Yeah.
And I like I love fantasy. Give me a fantasy book any fucking day of the week and I'll devour it like a fiend. But I really like hearing people's perspective on fantasy that like maybe it's not their favorite thing in the world too, because I feel like you get a lot out of that perspective.
Yeah, and I feel like
So that's kind of where I'm at.
I also feel like I remember, like, I listened here and there to some kaiju podcasts of people who are clearly fans of the thing, and I feel like, I got less out of it listening to them. Like, I think there's, like, the show would have a different energy if we were, like, all existing fans of the franchise that are coming out of it with, like, presumably, like...
This is
notions that are, like,
the origin of this idea, etc.
Yeah.
This is, yeah, I can see that.
Like, if the three of us ever made a mecha-themed podcast, we would absolutely be talking about shit that most normal people just do not give a fuck about, right?
That has its own value.
Yeah, it does. But, like, it would be different from the way we talk about Ultraman, I feel.
This week on Go Lion Q.
God damn. If I had an excuse to talk about fucking the Brave series.
I mean, I'd love to.
And by talk about, I mean just make myself watch it.
I mean, I'd love to do a project for the Brave series. Just I'm also doing.
I would like to rescind what I just. I do not plan to do a project.
I'm just talking about myself. So I have my own things, but again.
I know. Brave series seems cool.
Well, welcome to Obsolete Q.
I've watched that show.
I watched half of it, and I was like, okay.
People should watch. You should watch the rest of that show just to see what the last episode is.
I was spoiled on that, unfortunately.
Oh,
yeah.
I haven't heard. I don't know what you're talking about.
Obsolete. It's a 10-minute episodes CG mecha anime written by Urabuchi. There's these little snippets from this setting, and the last episode is funny.
It's very funny.
Nice.
All right. Are we kind of done talking about Ultraman Ace?
No, we have one more email.
Oh, of course we do.
We were doing emails.
Whoever this is, I apologize. Is it Cydrixer? I apologize, Cydrixer.
The subject line is I just aced.
Yep.
Well, looks like your least favorite show is finally over.
Yep.
Y'all...
I'm so sorry to original Ultraman.
I'm not. That show's still bad.
I think it's alright.
You can always do better.
You can always
you can always do better.
Had to bring it back.
Thank you.
Y'all are probably relieved to hear that considering Ace to be your favorite show is decidedly uncommon within the fan base. General consensus leaning to it has its moments, but the Yuko leaving thing wasn't called for. Yeah, people don't like it.
Yeah.
There we go.
I, for one, have always found Ace to be just kind of fine, but not one I necessarily would call great. It's a good show to just put a random episode on every now and then. Again, nice compact little story before getting on with my day, which is arguably how the show is best employed, or indeed was perhaps designed to be consumed in such a way.
Mm-hmm.
The inarguable shadow looming over the show is obviously the behind-the-scenes fiascos that made the show veer off into all sorts of places that make a full watch-through a taxing experience, as you've all found out the hard way.
Yup.
At the very least, nowadays, there doesn't seem to be too much resentment towards the affected parties of such struggles, but it doesn't excuse the fact they happen, of course. Don't worry, though, this certainly isn't the last time behind-the-scenes tomfoolery greatly affected an Ultraman show, so look forward to more drama in the future.
I fucking bet.
Oh, I'm sure.
I fucking bet.
Overall, Ace gets a solid meh in my book. At least the 21st century version of the OP. That I've already sent over. This is a note for future editing read. I will send you the music for the opening intro, which is, the fancy snazzy version of the OP, as we've been doing.
Thank you.
And also for the outro, the Taro AD, as we've been doing.
This is Mel is reminding me that that's what we were supposed to do because I just didn't fucking do it in the Return of Ultraman finale. I completely forgot that was what I was supposed to do, and I just plugged in the thing, and then Mel was like, "Oh, you just did the thing," and I was like, "Yeah, I don't know."
Yeah, you're like, "We never done that before." I was like, "We did it 3 times before."
I don't remember what I do.
It's fine. That's why I keep track of it.
Shin Hayata moment.
Shin Hayata moment.
Oh, there it is. There's the song I was hearing before I listened. Oh, wait a minute. What was I listening to? But yeah, they think that version of the song is good. Anyway, prerequisite subjects a question for the end of the season. You know what time it is? Elevator pitch for a modern Ace tribute episode, please.
Okay, modern Ace tribute episode.
This is so much harder because it's like...
It could be fucking...
I got one.
Anything. The show doesn't have an identity.
Yeah.
Mel,
Daiho Hiroshi transports our Ultraman to the year 1972 when Lunatics is attacking, and they have to stop Minami from leaving.
That's pretty good. I have to fix this. Yeah, I quite like that one. I think Hokuto gets a new girlfriend and then Minami comes back. And has to deal with this. That's it. Just romantic drama.
I can't even.
He transforms to defeat the divorced Choju.
My brain's going somewhere with like a fragment of the surviving moon people show up, and like Minami's there, and then Hokuto comes back, and then they have like an awkward talk of like, oh, long time no see. They need to figure out something.
Rouge the Bat voice, and long time no see.
Yeah, it's hard because there's not a lot going on here that I feel like lends itself to like, oh yes, an Ultraman Ace throwback.
Like, there's a reason I went with the meta lens.
The moon people rock up with Minami to try to become refugees, and it turns out that Minami has been a Bolton this whole time. The moon people were Boltons, and they've come to find refuge on Earth.
Oh shit.
And Hokuto is like, yeah, sure, that seems right. And then OG Ultraman rocks up and is like, nah
wait,
bro.
I have a better idea.
Yeah?
It's a repeat of the hot air balloon guy episode, but then the people with the hot air balloon get tricked because it's no normal balloon. It's also Balloonga, and it's also an Ultra Kid episode.
Balloonga is here.
I think about Balloonga way too often.
Is there too often?
No.
It's cool.
Tribute episode to Ultraman Ace. Zoffy saves the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tribute to Ultraman Ace if Zoffy shows up, because then it's here's Zoffy.
I hope that my dream is that Zoffy showing up is such a constant that when people see it, they don't even think about Ultraman Ace. They're like, oh yeah, that's just an Ultra series thing.
They need Zoffy to show up so much they can make a compilation movie later.
Yeah. I'm zoffing out.
I don't know what that means.
It's Zoffin time.
It's Zoffin time.
She's off on my Ultraman till I'm the father of Ultra.
Okay. I think you'll find the father of Ultra is I don't know what the Minami has kept the king, despite giving up whatever the Hokuto is. He's not a king.
No,
He's not a queen either. He's not in touch with his feminine side, despite fusing with a woman.
This is when Hokuto shows up and is like, actually, I played a king one time in a school production of, and it's like, shut up, Hokuto.
Yeah, I was crowned.
What if Hokuto's a pathological liar? Like, none of that shit's true.
That'd be more interesting.
Yeah. He's just making shit up. One day
he
Mikao
made
is
up-
one day
He made up the dentist.
Go
He
for
made
it.
up the dentist. They couldn't find it.
and then he killed that woman to cover it up.
It's really weird that he lied about wetting the bed, but, like, I guess, he had a reason to do that.
Yeah, you know what? That was a heroic lie. That was
That
a
was
good
a
lie.
heroic lie.
When one day Yamanaka and Mikao are talking to each other and they realize that Hokuto's stories contradict, and they're like, "This motherfucker's been lying this whole
Think about
time."
it. It's funny that, like, in 2 batches of episodes, we get Hokuto point blanking a person. in the
Oh
head.
yeah, just
Yeah.
fucking yeah. It's good. It's good. I like Hokuto going kill him.
You know what I forgot to
It's
talk
good.
about? I only noticed in
What?
the recent episodes that Ryo has a black stripe on his uniform.
Does
No.
he? What does that mean?
Well, just because I presume it's just because he's the captain.
Maybe it's just because he's the
Yeah.
captain.
Like, have you seen it or no? Like,
Oh, is it on the front?
yeah.
Oh yeah. I have seen it. I didn't like really take note of
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
yes, I do know what you mean.
I just noticed it when I was like, oh,
He's got
yeah.
the
He's got a
he's
black
got
stripe.
captain.
The other one's a great one.
He's my captain. That's I'm like that's my guy from like if I had to take one guy off the staff of the crew of the show, he's my
Yeah,
one.
I feel like, this show gave us some gifts. Gave us our best captain. Gave us Christian Bale in Equilibrium.
It gave us Christian Bale in
Gave
Equilibrium.
us Hirozafi.
True.
Yeah.
We'll take the W's we can.
Yeah.
Let me finish this email.
All right. Oh, is there more of this email? Go ahead.
One other question I'd like to pose. What elements introduced in Ace are you looking forward to hopefully see going forward? For instance, greater establishment of lore, 2-second Zafi cameos, occurring villain faction, maybe stick around for the whole show this time for once.
I would like to see the Zoffy cameos continue. I would like, not a recurring villain faction, but I would like a recurring villain. I would like, obviously this is never going to happen, but maybe someday we'll get someone who fits this role in some way. I want Punished Ide. I truly want to see Punished. I realize this is complete headcanon nonsense. I want to see the guy who's like
Rising almost gave us that, but
Rising.
You're like rubbed up against
yeah. But also,
it.
I think
Rising-
Subraya also said no, you can't go too far with it.
No, but it's like it doesn't quite. It's not. It's like reverse version of that in Rising because he's in charge of killing Choju. Kaiju. I fuck. Oh no! I've been cursed again. Shit.
I'm so excited for Ultraman Taro to start, and then you say Ultraman Ace while reading the summaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. The thing is, I can just say Taro.
There you go.
There we go.
Ultra 7 Taro.
Yeah, I want to Ultra 7 Taro. Yeah, I want to see a bad guy who's like a person who's like around. It's like he doesn't have to be a faction or anything. He can just rock up. Like maybe it could be like 3 episodes in the whole show. That could be it.
Mm-hmm.
But like they should be a presence. Who matters?
Yeah, the whole like. One of the issues with Ultraman Ace is that they introduce the faction and say like that's gonna be the bad guy every week is your pool doing like Choju stuff, and they immediately got rid of this because they wanted to do other stuff, and it's like, well, just don't make it the bad guy every single fucking week.
Yeah, because it felt diminished when it's like they said, "Oh, the Black Pigeon." Well, that's a bad example because that makes sense. But like when they said, for instance, like this random
cow.
Yeah, that could have just been like it got a curse or something.
Yeah.
Or
stupid.
the boat episode, it could have just been a random thing.
The boat episode should not have had. They should not have attempted to explain anything about that Choju.
They could have like made it more of
the
a
moment
distinction.
they're like, oh yeah, the Choju's got telekinesis and lifts the boat and flies it around. It's like, no, it's just weird things about this guy's life and Hokuto's life and the directions they're taking.
And not Minami.
Shut up. And not Minami. Minami's irrelevant.
And you could have just like, could have had something like more of a distinction between Choju and Kaiju that way, where it's like, well, some episodes there's Kaiju, and when the pools fall, it's Choju, rather than just being a thing that makes no sense and is a meaningless label.
I think that guy from the boat should be a recurring character in future Ultramans.
That'd be fun.
I think he should come back, and every time the main cast ever encounter that guy, he's on one. He's on.
It's
his
like
shit.
a completely different situation each time.
But it's always
clearly
him.
the same guy.
It's never made clear if it's the same character, but it's always the same actor.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Imagine if we just, we start Taro and he just walks up one episode one day.
That'd be good.
That'd be sick. All right, that's me.
So my answer to this question, so the not fun serious answer is, I actually really wish that we just walk back the stuff that we play with here, and we have something more following the footsteps of Return in 7. But if I had to give it more like to the T answer, I do like so this does run up into the issue of you don't need to explain what's causing the thing every time, but I do really like that idea we get for a split second here, that the second half of the show are like Yapul fragments. Yeah. I like that idea that the source of all these monsters and problems is this like remnant malignant force that is dead, but is so intrinsically evil that even its deceased like ruined form causes problems. I think like the cleanup aspect of, oh god, we still have to deal with this thing even after it's gone, is really fun and interesting, and could play with some of the environmental stuff that I like a lot too.
Yeah.
I'm poisoned by knowledge by some things, so I can't count on some stuff that I have to come eventually. I do think them trying something like Ace again would be fun, like a specific gimmick of two people becoming Ultraman. I know that never happens, but they should do a Yuri version of it.
There's a Kamen Rider about this. I can watch that.
Yeah, that's a Yaoi version, and it's good.
Yeah,
it's not actually a Yaoi version.
I like Yaoi. I'm sure it can be Yaoi.
I think the main thing is just the age gap stuff.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's I hate to break it to you. That is often Yaoi. That's,
yeah.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, it's hard for me because I'm like, well, I know roughly like there's shows I don't know a lot about the specifics because like I haven't seen them yet, but there's also like I know broad strokes the direction of the franchise, and of course once we get to like the late 90s to 2000s, I'm like, well, I've seen a bunch of these shows, so
okay.
I think the one thing I'd like from Ace to roll back is the part where it's bad.
Yeah, that would be wise.
But yeah, one final note from Sir. Going to Taro, all I should say in advance is if you thought Ace could get out there and quirky, you ain't seen nothing yet. So wait for bated breath for impressions of Taro.
Okay. For it. The silliness, I'm excited to see if the silliness is like Brad approved or Brad unapproved.
I think we're going into a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Like it's no longer like there's a bold prediction. It's just like, well, yeah, it's just what happened.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for your email, Cydrixa.
Yeah, thank you.
That might be fucking it for
I think that's
the
it.
Ultraman
3
Ace
hours.
podcast.
Yeah, it was a finale, so I'm not surprised we broke 3 hours, but we did like manage to not make it like 3.5.
Yeah.
We also didn't have like a bonus segment though, so which we've been doing for like the past 3 finales.
Yeah. Thank Christ. Because if we had gone to like 4 hours on Ultraman Ace, that would have been dire. That would have been.
I wouldn't want
it would have been dire because it would have just been us getting into how much we don't like it over and over again.
But then again, I think we maybe went longer on the actual Ace stuff because we only spent like half an hour on Preamble instead of an hour. So
yeah, we it's we've talked a lot today.
I'm ready to have my definitive stance on Ace and then not think about this show for a long time.
Yeah, my definitive stance is you can always do better.
You can always do better.
Yeah, it's below Ultraman.
Yeah, absolutely.
It goes Ultraman Ace at the bottom, and then it's Ultraman, and then above that, maybe like one step or two steps, it's Return of Ultraman, and then above that, it's Ultra 7 and Ultra Q.
Yeah, that's my ranking.
I think
as well.
we may shift around the numbers for some of them, but I think we're roughly on the same page of like where we rank the shows relative to each other. Like if we I think maybe we may differ on like whether we place Q or 7 at 1 or 2, but I think if we're like all solidly on the same page, they're at least in the top 2, and then Return of Ultraman.
Yeah, those are the two best ones we've seen so far.
And then I think presumably like we place Rising and Blazer in around the same.
Oh right.
Ballparks. Oh, okay. I'm kind of still stepping like is it like. We have the core rankings, and then we have the extended rankings. With this,
yeah. I do not have Rising above at the level of Ultra 7 and Ultra.
Well, no. I was just saying like he probably plays Rising around the ballpark of Return. I think, roughly. I think like Brad like maybe listed like third, right? Is that correct?
I would put Rising above Return for me.
I think I'm like 50-50, but I think I'd like I'd put like my top 4 would be Q, 7, Rising, and Return.
I think Rising goes below Return. It's simply American family animated movie.
Crucially for you, is it?
I'm not watching Pixar movies anymore.
Crucially, is it above Blazer and original?
It's probably above Blazer.
Okay, yeah. So
Blazer is certifiably just barely above Ultraman for me, I feel. It's a better show than Ultraman.
I think Blazer's a good show week to week. Does not get here at the end. And maybe we need to see the actual finale in the movie.
You know what? Add 10 minutes onto the end here. I'm going to put Blazer below Ultraman.
Oh, nice.
Damn. Spicy.
I did not expect that from you, but I respect the change.
There is the ratio of like decent episodes is worse on Ultraman, but also like Blazer doesn't have the bangers that Ultraman has.
Yes,
I guess the highs of Blazer aren't as high, even if it's consistently good until like the finale.
Yeah, like Blazer has like characters. It's like on a week to week basis, it's like a decent show, but I think it's just kind of like. As it gets into like, there's a conspiracy, it goes all the way to the top, and I'm just reading Full Metal Alchemist like I really didn't. I don't care.
They need a Roy Mustang and Scarred.
Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist.
Don't bring that bit into this.
I haven't finished Full Metal Alchemist yet, but I've got like 4 volumes left.
I have 7 volumes to read for like Wednesday, Tuesday.
Yeah, have fun. They're long volumes. There's big chapters.
I've never read the manga, but I watched both adaptations back in the day. But it's been a minute. I have not thought about Full Metal Alchemist with like an adult brain.
I'll tell you now. It's not the best thing ever made.
A few things are.
I think everyone should calm down.
A few things are.
Everyone should calm down about Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah. It's no Jujutsu Kaisen after all.
I see people online when it's like, why do people like Full Metal Alchemist so much? And people respond with like, well, it doesn't do like maybe there are other things you prefer, but like Full Metal Alchemist does like nothing wrong ever. Like there's no mistakes, there's no missteps in it. It's just good all the way. And I'm like, that's not true. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway,
but she gave up her room to do the thing, the motherhood.
That's not. I don't even think about that. That does not even. I really do not like the third quarter of Full Metal.
Okay,
I have opinions about people who deny that this is like battle shonen because it's like it's elevated. It's elevated.
Just
Naruto.
It's a new
And
genre,
I'm like,
elevated shonen. There with elevated
Elevated
horror and
shonen.
character action game.
shonen.
No, but the thing is, it's not elevated shonen. It's specifically elevated Naruto. Because elevated, you think about like Hunter x Hunter, that's elevated Naruto probably, but elevated. When I talked about this with someone and they said Yu Yu Hakusho, and I was like, the impression I get from Yu Yu Hakusho is that that's not elevated Naruto, that's elevated Dragon Ball. I want to be clear, I don't mean better.
I was trying to read Dragon Ball, but then I have to read Full Metal instead.
I do not know why this came. Oh, this came up because of I have the same issue with Blazer. Is I'm just like just make a show with just like I don't know. I just don't rate it really.
The conspiracy.
Anyway.
Look forward to us talking
think
about that movie
Blazer
in
goes
November.
below
Apparently,
Ultraman. November? Did they shift it again?
no, it's just like the Blu-ray comes out in like October 29th, so it's like right at the end.
I see.
We're waiting for the American elections to wrap before we get to Blazer.
Yeah, Gento, what do you think about voting for genocide people? Anyway,
you should speed up how fast your elections go. We got ours done pretty quick. It was, it wasn't good. I didn't have a good time. but it is over. I don't have to put up with my parents telling me about how cool Keir Starmer is anymore.
yeah.
All right, we're done. I don't know why this got. We're done. Goodbye.
We're good. Goodbye.
Next week there will be 3 episodes of Ultraman Taro.
Yeah.
It is just 3,
just
right?
3.
Yes, it is just 3.
We'll talk about it more next week, but like we have 3 except for like 2 exceptions for the thing.
There are 2 exceptions. We're gonna have fun.
More details to come.
The editing red here. We are not doing that. I am in need of a serious break from looking at Audacity, which makes the podcast tricky because I edit it. So we are taking a break, a 4-week break. I know that's quite long. But that means our podcast about the first 3 episodes of Taro will drop on the 19th of September. Sorry about this, but also, enjoy your Ultraman break. Read a book, go for a walk. Taro will be waiting for you in September. More details to come. If you want to follow us on Twitter, the show on Twitter, you can do so at @ultra_Q. That is at @ultra_QUEUE. Mel, you have some plugs.
Yeah, you can follow me at Dear Crowns on Twitter and Blue Sky. We got Gmail, ultraqpod@gmail.com. Send out your emails, as some of you have today. Thank you very much. Always appreciated. And we have the Coffee UltraQ Fund, which, eventually we'll be able to get some hotels going. But, Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find me everywhere at B_invoked. That's BE_INVOKED. I have spent a not insignificant amount of my vacation writing for long form videos, which I'm excited to finally get back into making.
You're a YouTuber again.
I'm a YouTuber again.
Yeah, maybe next month we'll actually be able to stream Abyss instead of having technical difficulties and having to do a recap episode.
Oh yeah, that did happen. That was unfortunate, but nothing we can control.
Did you have to redo some Tales?
No. What happened was, so I tested Abyss with my friend when Parasite comes up, and it worked fine for him. But he lives in New York, which is geographically closer to me than Wisconsin, and so it was just
so we had connection
and so
difficulties.
we're just like, well, we're here anyway, so we may as well like recap the plot a bit by reading the summary pages, just to like remember where we were,
which honestly was kind of needed, so it wasn't the worst thing.
But it was a nice half hour that we just spent.
Yeah,
only on my stream though.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that is the episode. Join us next time for Ultraman Taro. Goodbye. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I need a Jumbo King.
Goodbye, Hokuto Ace. For good, forever, goodbye.
That's an incredibly gay thing to say, by the way. I'm like, oh wow. I don't know. I just my brain, my man-oriented brain. I need a Jumbo King.
I think I've discovered some things about myself.
Whoa! Everything kicked in my brain. There we go. Okay, we're out. Goodbye.
Ultraman 父がいるウルトラの母がいるそして太郎がここにいる空を見ろ星を見ろ宇宙を見ろ彼方から迫り来る赤い色戦う太郎太郎太郎ウルトラマン太郎父が来たウルトラの母が来たそして太郎がやってきたあれは何あれは敵あれはなんだ謎を秘め襲い来る侵略者飛び立つ太郎が戦う